Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Hey, y'all, come on in. Come on in. I know this is an impromptu live. And yeah, I just want to present the opportunity to discuss what's been hot on these YouTube streets pertaining to this Diddy case and what's going on with Cassie as far as like the perspective, because I've heard different perspectives and different opinions on if she's been complicit, if she's a victim, if she reacted out of fear, if she reacted out of, the strive for success. And I'm just curious. I'm just curious in the engagement and basically finding out, the consensus of where people are coming from when it actually comes to what position and what stance, because it's all over the place and it goes from one extreme to the other. I have my personal opinion on it, and I may be able to vocalize that depending on the scheme of the conversation. I'm curious. I would just like to definitely get some more opinions on where we stand with all of this in regards to Diddy, Cassie, and I'm here to tell you one thing I think that most of us can agree upon is that this man is definitely not well. He's not well, hasn't been well for a long period of time. And you know, mm, definitely when you have power and you have money and you have the influence and the impact to deal with law enforcement, to make an impact and have an impression on judges, when you accumulate dirt on very prestigious, or people in prestigious positions, it definitely can change your mindset. It can alter your mindset, put you in a godlike stance, and make you feel as if you're above everybody else, and everybody else besides yourself is below you. And again, if you recognize yourself as being a god of some sort, then that means that you're above all. So come on in, come on in. Hey sis, we got Miss Yo Thoughts in the building. We got Miss Yo in the building. Laverne, I know it is bedtime. It's bedtime for me too, but we're gonna do this impromptu live, and we're gonna definitely just kind of open up the conversation and unpack the truths behind the glitz, right? Discuss the power dynamics, the silencing tactics, and the industry tendencies that let abuse hide in plain sight. I was amazed at when that video was released of Diddy and Cassie at the elevator, how dismissive a lot of people were and how very little time lapsed before people just moved on to something else. They just moved on to a whole nother conversation. I don't know if anybody, I'm sure most people that are either watching it live or watching the replay are familiar with Nino Brown, but I found his take to be kind of humorous and kind of funny. I'm just going to say, whether it's a funny topic or not, he definitely has the ability to strike a chord or a humorous chord with people in the midst of things that are not really humorous, right? So I'm just going to share a clip of his response or his perspective on today's events with Cassie's testimony in court, and then we'll go from there. So shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. That's right. No one knows what goes on behind closed doors for real. I'm telling you, the thing is that was something that came to light beyond his control, and it was something you could tell he had gotten away with for multiple times for a certain amount of time, and I'm sure she wasn't the only one he had gotten away with it with, right? But it was the one time after all of these years that he was literally exposed for whatever reasons, whoever did it, whatever their reasons were behind closed doors, it was brought to the light to the world. And it wasn't anything he can do about it. He couldn't explain that away. He couldn't justify it. He couldn't do none of that, right? So I just want to go ahead and share, though. This is Nino Brown's perspective, and then we're gonna go from there. And then I'm gonna drop the link and see if anybody has anything to add to the topic. So shout out to the chat. Hit the like button on your way in, and we're gonna go ahead and get right off into the content. Uh-uh.
And P. Diddy stands for P. Diddy. Because yesterday in the Diddy Freako trial, we all found out that Diddy made his male escorts use the bathroom in Cassie Ventura's mouth. Now I can imagine them goddamn tapes that got Young Miami and Saucy Santana on them. Yesterday, court testimonial was so bad that Diddy twin daughters stormed out the courtroom, left in the middle of it all. They ain't want to hear no more. Well, today in court, Cassie broke her silence. In her shocking testimony, she took the stand and laid it all bare. She told them prosecutors about the years of Diddy whooping on her. She told them people about the manipulation tactics he used and the fear that she had for his inner demon. She spoke about how he forced her into the wild, dope-fueled baby oil parties as he stood back in the hallway behind a glass window with the baby oil himself. The entire courtroom fell silent when a surveillance video from 2016 was played showing Diddy whooping on her in that.
So, clarification, that video actually transpired in 2016 and we in 2025. So when you speak on karma or things being done in the dark coming to light, this is a prime example when I'm sure he probably had dismissed this whole experience. I'm sure she didn't, but he might have dismissed his whole experience in his mind with all of this time has passed, like he was in the safe zone and nothing threatened or nothing threatening was going to surface. And here we are. Well, I think it was in 2024, it was initially released. However, it was released. But now the chickens had come to home to roost. So we're talking 9 years, 8 years, 9 years in, while he done moved on and had all of these different other transgressions and all of these different parties and experiences, that was a distant memory to him. And then boom, it is here for the world to see. That's crazy.
Hotel hallway. A witness that was hired by Diddy spoke out confirming Cassie's story. Now, one of them baby oil escorts that Diddy hired got on that stand saying Diddy paid him to perform with the baby oil on goddamn Cassie while he watched. Another witness got up there and claimed Diddy tried to bribe him to cover up the assault in the hotel hallway when he was whooping on her in the goddamn video, offering him hush money, but he refused the money, but then sold the goddamn footage to TMZ and got a bigger check. Diddy is not facing life in prison if he convicted. Diddy saying all this was consensual. Everybody signed NDAs. Everybody signed the consent to perform the bedroom baby oil activities. But after today, the jury looked shocked and shook. They looked scared. And then Cassie Urban walked in that courtroom and gave Diddy the death stare. Now, y'all gotta remember that Diddy daddy, his biological father, was a kingpin of the dope out there in New York City. Well, guess what? Diddy look like he followed his footsteps, but this time he the baby oil freako kingpin.
So let's just talk about that for a hot second, right? So the sins of the children of their fathers, I might have misspoke on that, but I know that the ideology It's the same, right? So here you are a product of your environment. You are a product, and if you think DNA does not matter, it does. It absolutely does. Your history, a lot of times, future is predicted by history, if especially if you are not aware or you're not intentional about understanding it and then changing it if it's not conducive to your future life, to your future dreams and goals and aspirations. So when we speak on the sins of his father, he really, between his mother and his father, whether his father was in his life presently or not, as far as being active, then that doesn't mean that he didn't get what his father had as far as traits and characteristics and foundational principles or lack thereof. And so now we're in a position where here you are, and your entire behind the doors, or what you thought should be only of the information should be available to only a certain population, now is being revealed to the entire world. And you're trying to say, okay, well, this was consensual. Well, if she was young or she was not of age based off of the law saying the age of 18, even if she was 18, I will say that she still did not have enough experience or maybe not enough guidance to make a decision. So even if she went into it with the agenda or with the intention of becoming successful by her association and connecting herself to him, let me tell you, the world gets darker behind the scenes. The longer you know somebody, the more that person is revealed to you, and it can turn into fear. Most of us will not know. Most of us will be unfamiliar with that particular situation. But common sense and logic should kick in. And if she is, and if he got with her while she was young and he was considerably older, there's an age disparity. There's going to be a level of maturity, wisdom, understanding. There's going to be a huge gap in that. And if she does not have a strong support system, an active support system, people that she respects in her circle, that she listens to, no matter what they say, guess what? She's going to pursue her own road and travel. And by that time, it may even be too late. And it resonates in my spirit that that's kind of how it went more than any other way. Like, she was enthusiastic, she was excited, she was, she felt privileged and blessed to be connected to somebody that so many people wish that they could have been during that time, but she was the one that was selected at some point. And then when the real him came out, when life started lifing, when the experiences started to surface, by that time, I believe in her young mind, the fear kicked in and it was a little bit too late. And by that time, she had probably done some things that she did not want to get out to the general public, and she knew he would use as leverage in order to expose her if she went against the grain. And then the rabbit hole just develops and goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And then here we are, right? Let's continue. Salute to the chat. Salute to the chat.
And y'all gotta remember this: these jurors ain't ghetto. They ain't from the hood with that kind of understanding. Like, man, you know what, they consider they broke. These are people that got regular jobs. They probably mothers and fathers, or they could have been victims of similar crime that's being alleged in the goddamn poor accusation, or got family members that are victims to similar accusation of the goddamn guilt. Because this starting to look like grooming. And that's just how they pick R. Kelly to them 30 years that he's serving right now in a federal penitentiary. Ain't gonna get out till he about 80 years old. Now, Cassie got on that stand today and admitted that she willingly participated in the baby oil PP activities. She did say that, but she said she did it all out of fear of what would happen if she told Diddy, the dealer, the baby oil bandit. No. Now the walls are closing in. And this trial just turned explosive. And we only get started. This only been day 2. This trial is expected to last 8 weeks. Can you imagine what we about to hear and the tape we about to see and how many people finna be secretly indicted on this? Why you think TDJ stepped down? It's finna get ugly, ugly. But y'all stay tuned. Y'all comment below. Do y'all think Diddy guilty or innocent? Do y'all think this is consensual or was this forced? Look at the Diddy character. Look at his demeanor. Do you think he was forcing them to do that, or was they willingly having fun and inspired by the kind of money? But keep in mind, the root of all evil is people that's dead broke. When you broke and ain't got no money, you will do whatever money tell you to do. That's why God say you can't serve money and God. Look like they were serving the money because he was paying them, paying Cassie bill, and she just there busting it open. But
Now, I want to interject here because there was a point where I was kind of delving, especially when it had come out that the elevator situation had happened between Diddy and Cassie. I actually started looking into looking more into depth into the situation. And one thing that I can say for sure is that his reaction at the elevator really was telling to me. The fact that he was more angered by her trying to get away and that he had possibly been discovered because guess what? She was by the elevator. All of these activities were not behind closed doors within the confinements of the hotel room or the suite that he was in, but this is out. Even though it was said that allegedly that the whole floor was closed off and that he had rented the entire floor, there were still cameras everywhere. There was still staff. There were still possibly other eyes that could very easily had seen or had become privy to the activities that was going on, and the fact that she was in a fight or flight response and she did not want to go back to the hotel room and she was resisting to a certain degree, it enraged him and he couldn't control it. And that to me really instilled the fact that she knew what a lot of people did not know, or she was exposed to certain characteristics that most people did not have the ability to see because they were not that close or connected to him. And that is that he was violent, that there was a point to where she had legitimate reason to be afraid of him. And the cameras don't lie. I mean, they can get up on the stand. She can get up on the stand. He can get up on the stand. They can all say things and have their own opinions. But when you look at facial expressions, you look at responses, to me, that alarmed me that he was oblivious to anything that was around him. It didn't tamper his temper. It didn't diffuse it on any level. It actually did just the opposite. It enraged him and made him even more furious because now the potential of him being exposed to more people outside of just her and what she knew became a lot more vast. The ability of him being found, and that's exactly what happened. Even though it was years later, it still transpired. And that was, and I think Nino Brown just said that the person that was running the hotel at that on that shift refused the money that he had offered them to keep his mouth shut, and he ended up making more on the back end with TMZ. And I'm sure that that planted a seed in his mind. And we also are still ill informed as to what could have transpired behind the scenes, because it probably didn't stop there. Just at a simple no, I don't want your money. Thank you, but no, thank you. So if you don't want my money, and what is it that I can do to ensure that you will stay quiet, that you will stay mum, that your reputation will be intact as far as the general public? At this point, though, I have to be honest and say that I don't really think he cared. I really don't. Because when you think you're a God walking on earth, you believe and feel and move as if you are immune to everything around you. That's just my personal opinion, right?
Y'all comment below. Let me know how y'all feel about the situation. Y'all watch out for the fake pages that be in the goddamn comment talking about you won some money. That's not Nino Brown. It's only one Nino Brown. I don't see no clown. Don't get fooled. Don't get scammed. Don't get bamboozled. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Y'all make sure y'all share this video, baby. We know business.
Hey, y'all, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I was in a dark place for a few years, you know what I'm saying? And I have to give a special thank you, shout out, thank you, all that love. So I gotta give a special thank you to the people that was really like there for me. Bishop T.D. Jakes, my chief of staff, Christina Coram, KK, Lorianne Gibson, keeping me free. Yeah, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that for he mentioned three people: his attorney, Cassie, and TD Jakes. So he covered the spiritual aspect of it, he covered the legal aspect of it, and he covered the relational aspect of it. The three closest in proximity to him and figuring out who he really is and the people that really know him behind the scenes, he gave public acknowledgement to. Now, I remember when I saw him, a picture of him and TD Jakes, or a couple of pictures, I didn't even know about, the rumors of him being a part, the pastor being at parties, about them behind the scenes, getting together like he was his protege, and TD Jakes was his mentor. But I just thought that that was the strangest, not saying, I'm not negating the fact that it's possible, because God has a sense of humor, in my opinion. And biblically, you will put a lot of people together that human logic would not assemble together. So I don't discount that. I don't negate it. But I still, my humanistic mindset, I was sitting and thinking, oh, something ain't right about that. Something don't set well with me on this. And up until that point, at least to the general public, TD Jakes, his image had seemed pretty clean, pretty squeaky clean. There were rumors, there were certain assessments, people that, probably had discernment to see beyond that. But I'm just speaking from a general perspective, like, okay, prior to that, he could get away with some things. But as far as I was concerned, that was a straight red flag. And so I was starting to look at TD Jakes really sideways from that point on. And then ironically, he steps down and he departs as head of the church that he created right before the trial begins. So it's not always what people say, it's what they do that really kind of draws certain attention or side eyes, if you ask me. But then that's just me, right? That's right, Miss Yo Thoughts. You're judged by the company you keep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go. I'm gonna mute it for copyright purposes. I don't think we need any music. Just watch the visual. I'm telling you, people can be really, really good actors and actresses. You just never know. You can never take things for face value. You just can't. Imagining things that are coming out in court now, it can go either way. Watching this video, she can look sincerely comfortable, not in fear, as if she's complacent, she's at peace, or things are going in her favor. or she can be truly in such a flight or fight response that she knows and she has seen and heard certain things that she wouldn't dare be able to show him, much less the public. So it can really go different ways, if you ask me. Um, Again, I don't profess to know. I'm a woman, though. I've been in situations where I have had to gauge how I was going to respond, which indicates a certain level of fear. I am definitely not going to deny that. And based off of that alone, wow, based off of that alone, that's enough to make me at least not be so rigid when it comes to judging her one way or the other. People can say, oh, well, she was complicit. Oh, well, she knew what it was. Well, if he got with her and there was an age difference that was big enough and large enough, and she was young enough, that pauses enough for me to question. It gives me enough pause to question. And I just want to kind of eh, pause and suggest a couple of different analogies, right? Is money used to silence victims? How impactful can it be for money to keep somebody's mouth shut? Just like when P. Diddy offered the head of the hotel, when the footage, in order to prevent the footage from coming out at the elevator, that he drug her. He smacked her up, I mean, just up and down before he literally drug her back to the hotel room. The first thing he did was throw money. That was not the first, second, third time. That was historically once he became wealthy enough and he used it as a tool and as a weapon to keep him untouchable. Another question I want to pause is the industry's obsession with image over integrity. It seemed as if his image superseded his any amount of integrity, any amount of foundational principles he may or may not have been, given when he was growing up. Now, I remember him in an interview not too long ago. I don't know how long the interview, how old it was, but I remember watching it not too long ago. And it was said that he really struggled when he first broke into the industry. And he elevated to be, I know he's had several names, but the first name where he really kind of knew his power and had been given power, and he struggled with it. He was kind of teetering back and forth, which let me know that at least at some point he had a conscience. He had some type of a mental gauge, and there was some things that were instilled in him that made him question and lose sleep at night if he was on the right path. And it was like a kind of a takeover. It was like, okay, this is what I want to do, but this is what has been instilled in me, and this is what has been taught. What do I do? He struggled with it. He struggled with it for some time until, guess what? I'm sure he had probably, in my opinion, done enough and had committed enough offenses to where he felt there was a point of no return. Now, why he was attracted, or there was a magnet, some type of a connection between him and TD Jakes, I won't understand. I'm not going to even lie. I never saw that coming. I never idolized pastors. However, I would say for a period of time, it appeared as if TD Jakes kept his nose clean, at least to his, church, to the people that followed him. He was married, he had children. But I tell you, you keep living and you keep living life and you keep living life in the public eye, and all your stuff gonna come out one way or the other, right? So I did drop the link. So if anybody would like to come up and give their perspective at some point, please feel free. But I also want to ask the question, why so many women in music feel trapped and voiceless. Better to be seen and not heard, right? If you look at it, there are so many. I look at Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston was super vocal and she was not embraced. With it, it seemed like the more of a veteran she became in the business, the more vocal she became, the more she realized, the more she wanted to sound the alarm to those that came into the industry or was considering coming into the industry. And she wanted to kind of give them a warning without jeopardizing herself. But at some point, depending on what level of sobriety she was in, where she was spiritually, because it was always a spiritual war with her. Her mother, Cece, did not play that, right? So you could tell what kind of foundation she came from. And then when she entered the music industry, they it seemed like they supported her innocent um, image. And then after a while, that became compromised. And then she got with Bob. Well, of course, she had been with a couple of other, well, it was Arsenio Hall, and then a couple of other people, and then Bobby Brown. But her image changed, right? But the more vocal she became, the more of a threat she became, the more accepted by those peers in the industry she became. People really, really treated her harshly, in my opinion. She's just one of the many examples, right? Um, but there are a lot of women that feel trapped once they get into the industry. They don't have that covering, because a lot of women that have that covering typically won't get as far into the industry as if you're single, or as if you're goal oriented, or as if you just have that tunnel vision and you don't see anything else. And at all costs, we are going to accomplish that, which many do. It just transcends. It just elevates. It just migrates depending on the generation, depending on the times, depending on what's being pushed, depending on the type of music that is being generated to an audience. But they are definitely, if you are in the music industry and you become successful and well known in any area, you have been compromised, in my opinion, to a large degree. There is something or some things that you have done or said or have been videotaped that you are ashamed will come out. That is the leverage that is being held over you. Now, one of the issues that I have, and that I will always ask, even though I don't necessarily require an answer, is why do the people behind the scenes that know what's going on but say nothing? They say nothing. They don't speak up. They don't make it known. They don't sacrifice anything. They will not put themselves in jeopardy or at risk. And to me, it always goes back to fear. The level of fear that is instilled. If you tell me that money does not have power or does not yield power, you are I will not believe you. You are mistaken. Okay? Now, look at all the people that knew what Cassie endured. We're just going to take her out of the equation. All of the things that Cassie endured in that relationship, whether it was security guards, whether it was family members, whether it was close friends, whether it was people that participated in the sexual sidebars that was transpiring, because evidently based off of her testimony, she was used and discarded time and time and time again. She wasn't valued. She was valued to the public, but behind the scenes she was a commodity. That bothers me. The one video where I saw where she was up under a blanket in a hotel room and he clicked the record button or the live button. One is no different from the other as far as I'm concerned. He had the intention of putting her on camera for somebody outside of himself to see. And she did not want to come from underneath that blanket. If it was total silence, which there was not, he had a whole lot to say. If you know, you know. But even if there was total silence, that spoke volumes to me. There has never been a time in all of my years of living that I have ever spoken to a man from underneath a blanket, scared to put the blanket down and speak to him face to face. How that requires such haughtiness, such pride, carrying himself as if he is untouchable. That even if it got out, and even if he was the one to release it to get out, it wouldn't affect him in any kind of way negatively. And his intent was to expose her in whatever direction his mind was going into. Now, I don't expect for everybody to agree with everything that I'm saying. These are my thoughts and my thoughts strictly. My opinions. There's a lot that we see and there's twice as much we don't. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. And when you have good actors and actresses painting a story that they want to release, they can do a really good job at convincing certain audiences with certain mindsets, going through their own personal experiences and forming their own opinions as to draw their own conclusions as to what they think has happened. Now, Diddy's case is a part of a larger trend. He's not by himself, y'all. Look at all of our celebrities, quote unquote celebrities, that are being apprehended. They're being charged with RICOs. They're being imprisoned. They're going through public, high profile cases. Those things are for a reason. You have high profile artists that are being called to account following Me Too movements as well as other movements. To me, this is a much deeper issue and a much deeper subject matter than just Diddy. Diddy is well known. Diddy's been around for a long time. And there whether there has been clarification and proof, there has been so many allegations and so much quiet whispers that turned into loud statements over the years of his sexuality being in question, his treatment of women. No matter what picture he has been successful in his mind of painting, there's always been some type of sidebar conversations that have gotten out to pause the question and to put into question this picture that he has tried to paint for himself for so long. When you speak on the industry and the artists and the platforms and the power and the money and the influence and the puppet strings that are involved, because guess what? They all answer to somebody, whether it's a record label, whether it's a system, whether it's even a culture. At the top that runs that musical arena, they care about their bottom line, they care about their profits. And the only reason that they care about their images is because it affects those bottom lines. Am I saying that Cassie was innocent? Nope, not 100%. But let's look at it from the perspective that has been presented to us as facts. Is that when they met, she was considerably younger than he was. Considerably. I know if I had a 17 or even 18-year-old child that was approached, a daughter that was approached by a 30-plus-year-old man, I would have a problem with that. I would have a huge problem with that. But that's just me. I believe that initially, because of her innocence and her inexperience and her limited time and her lack of time of being with him, he was very calculative in the parts that he showed her in order to make sure that she got to the point where he didn't question her loyalty. He didn't question her commitment. He didn't question her love for him. By the time she realized exactly what she was dealing with, she had seen too much, been through too much, been a witness to too much. Way too much had been brought to her eye gates and her ear gates. And I would even go as far as to say a lot of that would have been intentional. There were certain things that were exposed to her and done in her presence for a specific reason, to get her webbed in so tough that if she got out, she would destroy herself. Probably more than of an effect than it would have on him. I don't know how she got out of that situation ultimately, because I don't really follow celebrities or especially like Diddy, the likes of him. I peeped a long time ago that he was not a sound person and definitely not somebody I wanted to follow closely. But I'm telling you that compared to the husband that she has, that she ended up marrying and bearing children with, compared to him is like night and day culturally, and just as far as race, background, cultural differences, belief systems, totally different. I believe that when she did finally break away from him, she was very intentional about not getting with anybody that resembled anything like him. I don't really, like I said, I don't follow them like that. But what I will say is that she was silent for a long time. And to me, that underscores the fear of not just her, but many victims like her. Look at how many celebrities we have. Can you imagine the amount of relationships, women, especially if they're men, how many women they have, and how they all use their money, their power, their prestige, and their reach in order to make sure that they fear them? Because love is subjective. Depending on the reality, fear can be a lot more effective. And with that effectiveness, can create many victims. Can you imagine that fear kicking in and having such an effect that people don't speak out against powerful figures tied to money, status, and gatekeeping at all? Fear of career sabotage, NDAs, industry blackballing, all of these play major roles in making sure that they don't get exposed by those that they embrace in their circle, that they allow to get connected to them. There's definitely a culture of silence and a power imbalance, in my opinion. And when you speak on Diddy's case, there's definitely a power imbalance between him and anybody that he was connected to in that music industry, where artists, especially young women, can be manipulated, controlled, silenced, instilled with fear. We can't just sidestep that and say that they should know better. Money is always a silencing weapon for those that are in power because there's so many people that don't have it. When you have allegations of payouts, people offering hush money, look at all the quiet settlements that reveal how wealth and legal teams are weaponized to control narratives. Many of those people can't afford to fight, much less fight legally, especially when you have abusers that have limitless resources. Because it's not always about the money, it's about who they're connected to that has the money. You can have little money, but based off of who you're connected to, it gives you the power that you need in order to acquire the result that you're seeking. Look at the Cassie lawsuit and how quickly that was settled. Come on now. Let's call a spade a spade. To me, he never had to say a word, but how quickly he settled and how quickly he came up off of those millions shows how the legal system can become a tool for damage control. and not necessarily justice. You got industry complicity and bystander culture. You can only hide these behaviors for so long. Look at how long he was in the music industry. Look how long he was on the forefront. Look how long he was an attention whore. Had to be in all of his artists' music as a rap. What do they call it? A feature. Always had to have his little part in other people's music that he had some control in. You got a circle of assistants, you got a circle of executives, you got a circle of artists, you got a circle of staff, you got a circle of security who know something but say nothing. How many years have people been traumatized by watching this behavior go on, but was too scared to say something? Everybody knew, but yet said nothing. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Y'all, I'm in my bag. I'm in my bag. Let me go back. Let me go back. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to my chat. I'm hoping ain't nobody hit the link, because if you did, you've been sitting back. I'm telling you, I did drop it a couple times. We got Alexandra. Oh, it's so good to see you. Miss Alexandra is in the building. We got CC in the building. We got Ryan Campbell in the building. Oh shit, we got damn DPOV. We got the POV channel stopping through. Thank you so much, damn D. Appreciate you. Appreciate you always. We got Tisha in the building. We got Paul Thomas. Salute and greetings to you, Paul. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate you. Northern born and Southern raised. We got you in the building. We got, hey, Bolo. We got my Bolo in the building. Babes is in the building. And if there's anybody I missed, please charge it to my head and not my heart. And we got Cece that definitely blessed us with a super sticker. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. And you're always supporting. Thank you. Thank you. Let me see. Okay. So I'm going to drop the link one more again. That's right, damn D. Dancing in videos. Oh, that's right. Always. He always kind of did it simultaneously. If you heard him, you saw him. If you saw him, you heard him. He used to get on my nerves. I ain't gonna even lie, because he ain't even all that good of a rapper. And I used to be like, why you always got to be up in the video? Why can't, like, Biggie? Biggie didn't need no help. Okay, so this is my personal opinion, my page, and I can vocalize and say my personal opinion and my take on it. And let me tell you, I love me some Biggie, and he ain't need no help. I'm just saying, Craig Mack didn't need no help. Now, one thing I will say about Diddy is he know how to pick out talent, always, but he just didn't treat them right. Everybody that he selected, that signed with him, always ended up in some type of a bullshit situation, and it did not work in the favor of the artist, but it always seemed to work in Diddy's favor. And when he sent those people for that cheesecake across the bridge in the rain, I was done. I think that was the first time and the last time I watched that show. I don't even remember what the name was, but I just never had respect for him. I never, because, okay, let me just say this. One of the reasons, and I said this in my last video, one of the reasons that I don't go into Walmart is because I don't like the way that the employees are treated. Long time ago, I didn't care that they were the cheapest in town. I didn't care if they were the most economical in town. That never fazed me. I always watch how the people treat their employees, how the ones that do the hiring treat the hired. And if they don't show them common decency and respect, I'm out. I'm not giving you my dollar. I'm not giving you my support. I'm not giving you my time or my presence. I'm out. Because without those people, you wouldn't be in the position that you are in. And to me, it's very telling on your character and your level or lack thereof of integrity as to how it absolutely is not beneficial, and it's you're not good people. You're not good people because all you care about is the bottom line. All you care about is the dollar. All you care about is the profit margin. You don't care about how these people feed their family. You don't care about them spending no time with their family. You don't care about scheduling them to where they can accommodate and nurture their children, their spouses, be a family person. I am big on family. And if you don't support that's one of the reasons I became self employed, is because a lot of people that I actually work for didn't give a damn about me seeing my family, whether it was on holidays, whether it's my children had any type of events. They were in school activities. They were at a school to where there was no busing. I had to go pick them up and take them to school. They didn't care about none of that. So I got tired of that, and I said, you know what? Nobody is going to care more about them than I am. So I just wanted to say that. I wanted to absolutely put that into perspective and say that to me that matters. So if you don't treat your employees right, and other people can see, because it's going to show, even if it's a lack of a smile, lack of enthusiasm, they don't go hard for the company. I love and miss a lot of the mom and pop shops because they're so invested that they're going to pull out all the stops to make sure you come back, that you feel comfortable, that you feel welcome. The bigger the business is, the more that is lacking, right? So, Paul Thomas, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Salute, Mr. Kerry in the chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody for being here. And oh my goodness, we got beautiful one. You caught alive. We got beautiful one in the building. Thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. You say culture. No. I'm glad you did. Thank you for being here. Support, support, support. That's right. I hope all is well with you, beautiful one, with everybody. I don't like Walmart either, CC. I have to tell you. Listen, Linda, and listen, Larry. I will drive like there's a Trader Joe's that's 30 minutes from my house and a Walmart that's 7 minutes from my house. I've been to that Walmart probably 3 times in the 5 years that I have been here. And I will drive that 30 minutes to go absolutely to Trader Joe's. I always get a smile. People ask me, do I need help? Is there anything I need assistance in finding? Period. I don't like it. I don't like it. To me, that matters. Customer service tells me everything that I need to know or lack thereof, right? So I definitely I would love, okay, I'm gonna drop the link one more time. I'm not gonna burden everybody because I know it's late. People gotta work tomorrow. I get it. This is an impromptu live, but I just want to definitely welcome anybody that wants to come up and give their opinion, because I feel some type of way, and even though I felt some type of way, I wasn't like super invested in this Cassie and Diddy thing, but I feel some type of way when people want to judge the victim. And I definitely look at her as a victim, if only solely for the fact that there is such a thing as grooming. Now you got R. Kelly sitting in prison. He's sitting in prison for that very thing, right? No, don't nobody want to give him no grace. Don't nobody want to. Ain't nobody trying to hear nothing he got to say. He was judged from the gate. And if I'm not mistaken, there was some peeing going on with him too, along with some younger females. Him being grown, going by allegedly by the young girls' schools, picking them up or at least having conversations with them. I don't know a lot of the details because I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to people that are sick, in my opinion, I'll study them long enough to understand how to avoid them. And then I move on. I move around. Okay. Now, I'm with you on that. So let me just say this. Damn D say, I agree with Beautiful, and Cassie is not innocent, but Diddy is more at fault. So I was saying earlier in the live that I absolutely believe, because the whole topic of the live was basically, was she seeking success, and did it turn into survival, or was it the other way around, or was it another way? It could be totally subjective. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. Whether she was 17 or whether she was 27, she still was very intentional and very cognizant of some of the things that she was doing within her capacity at that time. The problem that I have is that he knew better and she was still developing. From a 17 to 18-year-old's female's mindset, it also depends on how was she raised. What kind of influence did she have? Was dad in the home? Was the parents present? Did she have any old heads that took time with her, or was she blessed enough to have them in her family at all that actually had something to say and advise her one way or the other on how to avoid it, this and that? But then again, she could have had all of that, but there are some hard heads that make soft asses. So guess what? She could have had all of that and then decided, but you know what? I want this. I know what's best for me. This is my road to travel. This is my life to live the best way that I see fit. And guess what? She made the decisions to definitely get involved, because she could have walked away from the word go. She could have. They lasted for years back and forth. I don't understand the dynamics of all of that. But the defining moment for me is that he was considerably older than her. He was way more established. He was connected and interconnected with a lot of people to accumulate knowledge that the average person, much less a 17 or 18-year-old young lady, will not be equipped with. You think he didn't use that to his advantage? You think that he did not know that he had the upper hand when it came to her, and he didn't know what she wanted? Mostly what all young ladies want. That's why the word concubine is formed. Now, I would miss your thoughts. Even a baby knows right from wrong. Again, I'm not exonerating her. I am not excusing her. What I will say is, at some point, I believe that fear took over when she got that act right, and when that light switch flipped and she was like, this is not for me. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I believe that she was lured in and she was in too deep. That's what I believe. And it's easier said than done. From the outside looking in, it's easy to judge. But again, we don't know what happened behind closed doors. We don't know what kind of intimidation tactics he used. The way that he handled her at that elevator, I am here to tell you that was not the first time that had taken place. That was something that he was very comfortable in executing in front of cameras. So I can only imagine how he conducted himself behind the camera, behind closed doors. Say that again, damn D. Fear was definitely there, not only with her, but with everyone around him. That's my point. So if he's got more influential people surrounding him than she is, maybe not than he is, but than she is, and they're scared to say something, they're scared to speak up. Because again, how long did this go on and nobody said nothing? You know that there were many people in restaurants, hotels, beachfronts, public venues, public places where he cut up. There was a I wish I'd have thought about it, but there was a clip where they went to a red carpet event and there had been a skerfuffle prior to this event. You could tell if you look and you got a discerning spirit enough, you can tell she was disturbed by something. She had become so good at acting and playing it off that an untrained eye is not going to be able to see it. But his body language, grasping her hand, giving her a side eye that he thought was really discreet. But again, there are certain people that are going to be able to pick that up. And her response was fear. It was involuntary. She tried to cover it up, but she couldn't. And he tried to be as discreet as he could be by letting her know, you're talking too damn much. Shut up. Just be my arm piece. Just be my decoration. That's what you're here for. You're not here to talk. Okay? I want you to say that's my whole point. He did all that with Cassie because she was young. I don't think he really dealt with a lot of women his age. Even Kim Porter. Kim Porter was older than Cassie, but she was still young. She was still impressionable. And the one thing that I can almost say for certain that Cassie and Kim Porter had is that they were both connecting to him to get to where they wanted to be. And they knew he could do it. They just didn't know the price they were going to have to pay and what it was going to cost them. Okay, baby. Hey, sis, what's going on with you, Laverne? You on mute. You gonna have to unmute yourself, Mama. You won't let me unmute you. Exactly, beautiful one. He did that in public. He didn't do that behind the scenes all the time. He was very comfortable. That's my whole point. Is can you imagine the level of comfortability that he had with addressing people, not just Cassie or young women or women, but people in general? Look at his Diddy parties. Look at the basketball players and the celebrities that came and graced his parties or whatever. He gave directives. He gave directives. You good? I think I hear you.
Shirley,
Yes.
I be damn. You know how long I've been in the back. I don't stop inviting people to your house if you don't want to let them in.
You know what? Listen, I'm asking for forgiveness. I'm so glad that you had the patience to wait.
I said, well,
I've
I
been
be
in my
damn.
bag, Laverne. I've been in my bag.
I mean, you going 90 miles a minute asking questions and answering them yourself. Look, now you know it's past my bedtime. Hey, chat.
I do. That's why I'm
Look,
like, oh, forgive me. Forgive me.
I do, baby. You know I do. But listen, I just wanted to just talk about this point and speaking about the lady Cassie, the girl. You know what? You know, when it comes to knowing right from wrong, she knew right from wrong just like he does, right? I believe both of them used each other for what they needed. I really do.
Mhm.
So it may have started off where she was in, she was innocent, and yes, he's a lot older than she is, but she definitely knew what was going on and what she was doing, and what part that she played in that mess, right? But I also
Mhm.
know that this woman is smart. That she might be young, but she was really smart. She was waiting for her time to escape, and look at what she did.
You're in the
Can
matrix.
you hear me now? I don't know what's going on because I can hear you. Huh.
I hear you now. Did you go out again? Are you outside?
I'm here. I can hear you. I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, I'm gonna hurry up and get off of here because I don't know what's going on. But basically, I just want to say that she and him, they were using each other. You know what I'm saying? It came a point where that happened, right? So she knew exactly what she was doing. Yes, she was scared to death of this man. I would have been scared of that fool too because he was crazy. He's crazy as hell. He's really so he's a demon seed, right? And
Yes.
yeah, and I believe that she picked her time when it was time for her to leave him. She was gonna pick a time to leave him anyway. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
yeah, so she wasn't as dumb. She's not as dumb as everybody thinks she is. You know what I mean? I believe she knew exactly what she was doing. It came a point wherein she knew exactly what she was going to do and knew her escape route. And that wasn't the first time that she tried to escape from him when he caught her at the elevator. And
I
another thing.
absolutely agree with that.
Yep, and one more point. He had a lot of practice on beating a lot of women's ass, and all of his every time he been in relationships, he don't whip somebody's ass. So he was real good at it, real skilled at it. So that's why and everybody knew that he was doing it. All them people around him knew. They didn't tell because they were getting money or they participated in some of the shenanigans. So that's why everybody was mum's the word and knew the man had money. Money is the root of all evil, and that's what we were just witnessing. And so now it's his turn to pay. Simple as spitting on the ground. That's my spiel. Okay? So I'm gonna be in the
Before
chat.
you drop down, let me just
Mm-hmm.
ask you this. Now,
Okay.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. I just want to know what you think when it comes to how much of a factor at some point fear might have played.
Oh, she was scared. I mean, I think it 100% fear, because he's good at it. He's good at putting fear. A coward is good at you know, um, somebody that's a scary type
Yes.
person. He won't fight no dudes. He'll beat a woman's hind parts in a second. But a dude, he'll get somebody else to do that. Cowards do that kind of thing. So he know how to manipulate women. And think about this: his mom and his dad, where he was raised. His dad knew about women. Most men like him study women. They know all about women, how to hurt their heart, how to get to them, how to make them jealous, how to manipulate them. That was his skill. That's his skill, right?
Mhm.
So she was easy for him to do that too. But it was easy for him to do her that way. You see what I'm saying? He was used
Mhm.
to it. Yeah. So yeah, she was scared. She was scared. Uh-huh.
Well,
But it
I
came up.
also looked at the fear that Kim Porter had. So it's easier
Mm-hmm.
for me, like when you got two women on two different ends of the spectrum with the same man that are exhibiting some of the same characteristics throughout the relationship. Because I believe Kim Porter went into the relationship the same way that Cassie did. I believe that they went into it with a particular intention to
Yep.
propel and catapult their careers to
Mm-hmm.
get a bottom line that served them.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, they heard a lot, they saw a lot, and now
Mm-hmm.
they're in the web, they're in the spider's web, and it's not just as easy to walk away, especially when you have somebody that has the reach and the impact and the money and the resources such as Diddy.
Yeah, and I think too that this is another thing that I'm looking at, just a whole thing. This reminds me of back in slavery time, how somebody get out of line, one of the bucks get out of line, and it's time to punish him, and we got everybody watching, everybody else watching. of what not to do and how they're going to punish him. They've been knowing that this dude was doing this thing for a long time. So why we got to go through all of this thing to see if he's guilty and all this stuff? Listen, everybody know that he's guilty of most of the stuff that he's been accused of, if not all. So why are we going through all this stuff? And then here's another thing I want to point out. Did y'all know that Kim Kardashian, it was in, I think it's London, Paris, somewhere over there in Europe. They found after 8 years, remember somebody stole her jewelry, over like millions of dollars of jewelry. That
Was
she's
that 8 years ago?
8 years ago. It was 8 years ago. That her court date is today. So she was going to court today. Why is she going to court today? Is it because she's trying to garner some type of sympathy because her name may come up in that Diddy mess? Come on now, it's all a game. And so, we have to be real careful of how we look at this thing, okay? Because it's like a stage and they just playing with us, right? It's all a big ass game. So I wouldn't invest too much in this bullshit. Basically, all of them are demon seeds, and that's what's happening. That's my opinion. And
Mm,
that's it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
yes. Well, I
Yeah.
tell you, I sure appreciate your perspective because you always bring it full circle.
Thank you,
Definitely
baby.
with your wisdom, with your opinions, with your discernment, and all of that. I never profess to know it all. I can just go based off of my opinion, but I always love a different perspective. I always, and yours is even more special. So I'm grateful.
Thank
And,
you, Shirley.
I know, I appreciate you hitting the link and gracing us with your words of wisdom because it matters. And this
Thank
thing,
you.
the reason why I went live, and I'm gonna let you go. The reason why I went live was because it's like I've been trying to avoid this Diddy thing
Yeah.
together and do like cover other topics and indulge myself with
Hmm.
other topics that are more prevalent to my everyday life and situation and things that can help other people, but there's
Yeah.
always some gems that you can grasp and that you can grab out of somebody else's experience. And just because this is on a celebrity scale or on a higher scale doesn't mean that we can't benefit in our everyday lives certain gems and certain principles that we can take from it on our level as well. So I
And
just wanted to.
yeah, yeah, and I'm all for that because that's what I do too. I look at what's happening, and I could, pull some things out of exactly what's happening, like in their so-called world, and bring it into that spiritual world, and look at it with the third eye, right? So,
Yes.
and looking at this mess with the third eye, basically, they're trying to get us distracted. So the bigger question is, what is the plan now? What is going on that's going to be impacting our lives as citizens in the United States of America or in this world? What is
Mhm.
going on that we don't know about? What's going to be hit? What we're going to be hit with, and everybody's going to be in a panic? Is there going to be another pandemic coming out of this? What's going to be happening? Because you better believe, while we've been entertained, there is going to be something slammed on us. So we better just stay vigilant. Yeah, pay attention to this, but pay attention to that. Don't get caught up. Balance is the key to everything. It's just simple as that. So
While you
that's my spiel,
mentioned
baby.
that, I did
Mhm.
see, I don't, Dr. Umar I haven't verified or confirmed, but he said that there was just a bill that Trump passed where it gave police the green light to for impunity, basically. So
Mm.
that happened
Mm.
yesterday. So I just wanted
Mhm.
to throw that out there. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh
so
yeah.
it gives them impunity, the basically to be able to do what they want to do. And he wanted to alert the people that this is what's going on. Now I know Dr. Umar got his issues or whatnot, but when it
Yeah.
comes to staying up on certain topics, he be on it. So again, I can't
Right.
confirm
Right.
but that just goes along the line of what you were just saying is that
Oh
we
yeah.
definitely need to be looking outside because they use these celebrities to keep us distracted and to keep us in a web of the unknowing.
Yes, and I want to make one more point. You see, Cassie and all the people that P Diddy supposedly has traumatized and did things to. Just think
Mhm.
about this. What I want people to take really look at the people in your family. Pay attention to the women in your family, because I'm sure there's some women in your family that's right next to you that's going through some shit just like this shit. May not be as traumatic or dramatic, but I'm
Yep.
telling you, pay attention to the abused women that's in your family that you don't know about. The husband and wife been married for a long time, and they at a dinner table and y'all at a gathering, and he give her a little side look. They got to go home or see if anybody got bruises on them. Y'all pay attention to that as well. So that's what I
Yeah.
want y'all to be aware of too, because right in your back door. And then if you see it in your house, why aren't you telling? Why ain't you telling somebody? Why aren't you going to the police? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just
Facts.
asking. So we
That's
need to pay
fact.
attention to all of that. And so,
I
yeah,
agree.
that's my spiel. That's my spiel. I'm in the bushes, baby. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace, chat. Love y'all.
Thank you, Laverne. Appreciate you, baby.
Anytime,
Okay.
Shirley. Anytime.
All right. Sleep well.
You too, baby.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So we got Selena in the building. She say, hey, Mr. Kimmy in chat. Just step in to say hello and good night. All in one swoop. Thank you for coming through, Selena. And thank you for being a catalyst for me actually going live tonight. I thought that her live, if you haven't subbed up to Selena, or Miss Yo thoughts, please do so. If I could have one of my mods or a couple of my mods drop their links into the chat, I would be greatly appreciative of you doing so. These are two great channels that you definitely will leave knowing something more than when you came each time, and at least great conversation and topics that grant a different perspective. So appreciate you. Thank you so much, Selena. And we got a beautiful one in the building. She said, yo, yo, I'm telling you, I guess I'm gonna have to boot Miss Yo out because she, she like, listen, I don't do that. You she is so funny. That is so. Thank you so much, beautiful one, for blessing. Thank you for being here. You have been missed. Your presence, your energy, just so grateful. Hope all is well with you. Hope all is well. She laughing. Hope all is well. Listen, I don't, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm gonna be honest and transparent. I know it's only been what 2 days for the trial, but I haven't watched the trial. I figured between YouTube and the news, we'll get the important parts. I'm not gonna sit up 7 8 hours and look at transcripts, and I don't even know is so. Let me ask you a question. If anybody knows, if they're watching the trial, did they show Cassie, or did they just show the transcript, or what are they showing when it comes to the trial? Is it an open trial? Media is invited? Are they not invited? Not really sure what's going on with that. But I definitely just kind of wanted to come in because let me tell you something about fear. And I know that this is not the only, because definitely between Miss Yo and some consensus in the chat, I agree. I agree that Cassie is not 100% innocent in this situation. Do I believe that Diddy has had the upper hand and the advantage to be able to manipulate things to go his way more times than not? Absolutely. Especially when she had to plot and she had to plan, probably, I would guess, on more than one occasion to get out of that situation once she realized that this is not going to benefit me in the long run. And if I don't get out, it may not end well. But when you speak of fear, fear can be absolutely, it can cloud judgment as well as become debilitating. And so, and I'm speaking from experience. I've had fear in different aspects. The older I've gotten, the more it has dissipated and the less I fear. But when I was younger, I can be honest enough to say that I am speaking from experience, and fear can be absolutely something that, you definitely um, don't want to experience and have it direct the trajectory of your life, right? So let me see the chat real quick. Oh wow. So oh yeah, because I did hear Nino Brown say that his twin daughters were there and walked out. So if Cassie, so my question would be, let me tell you now, that's a level of arrogance, in my opinion. Because I believe that those children were probably there based off of his request. Why would you have children there with her testifying, knowing what you already know that the prosecution is going to ask her some of the most in-depth questions that children should not be privy to. That can be absolutely traumatizing. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but wow. So they were there and walked out. And I'm just thinking of the girls. I don't know if the boys, but I think all the boys are grown, right? So I'm not really sure, but that just sounds like, I don't know. There's too many questions and not enough answers as far as that goes. But so the children were there and they left, but so I don't know if she if the court was televised to the public, or if there was a transcript available. Sometimes if they don't allow the media into the courthouse, then there's some type of transcript that can be released out to the public after the trial has ended for the day. I'm not really sure how this went because again, I haven't watched it or whatnot, but I'm here to tell you that that is alarming to me. I heard that the children were there and they walked out. So you got Cassie up there on the stand. Lord knows what kind of questions she's going to be asked, much less the answers that are that she's going to answer. But I can't imagine that the daughters are fond of her by this point because it's cost, like you say, about $30 million or such. I know it's a lot of money. Even for Diddy, that's got to be because I think he paid that out within 24 hours, right? So again, that was the settlement that she got, but I know that that was extremely quick from when she filed that. I think it was that night she filed the lawsuit, and the following morning she was paid, right? So I'm not really sure how that went down, but I can't see myself just allowing my children to, even if they are grown, it is like that would be their decision. I don't know if the daughters are grown or not, but it just strikes me kind of wrong in order for them to be front row and center for all of that. And I would have left too, hearing some of the things that, can you imagine hearing that about your own father? Right? So I don't know, y'all. Nobody else wants to hit the link. I'm gonna drop it one more time because like I said, there's only so much of this situation I know. I can make it relative to, some of the everyday life situations, but as far as the case goes, I'm listen. That ain't that ain't it, and it ain't that. So I don't know what's going on with it, but if there is one, let me see real quick. There was one clip that I wanted to show. Okay, so let's do this. Let me, while I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and share this and see what he has to say. Hold on. Okay, hold on. We got a beautiful one in the building because that surely. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hey, beautiful one. I'm so glad you hit the link.
Hi, Miss Akimi. Hey,
Hi.
sweetheart. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I had to hit this link.
I'm so glad. I'm just because I know you know more about it than I do, and I am so interested in your perspective.
Okay, so this is just my opinion.
Hmm.
Like, I get the fear that she may have went through, but I look at Miss Akimi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So I see her having fear, but I see her having fear more so of not having the lifestyle anymore, not having the fame, not having, to be able to go to all of these events that you have access to. Also her career. If she was under a 10, like a basically she had 10 albums that she was contracted under, which is insane. Um I just look at it as though she may have looked at it, okay, I have a fear of not completing my albums and things like that. And I think that she saw a lot from his baby mothers, from like you said, Kim, and all of these other things. So I just feel like she had plenty of warnings. I do believe that he manipulated her. He used his money and his power, of course, his celebrity, to put that fear in her and doubt in her, so I just feel like Miss Yothart said, that they played each other.
Hmm.
I feel like it was a game with each other. I know younger females, I've been young myself. I've been 19, 20, 21, 22, and like, okay, yes, she was young, but we also know a little bit. We're not that stupid at that age. My son is 19. And
Hmm.
I'm going from just and I'm going just basically from his mind frame. I can't see him allowing these things to happen to him
Hmm.
with just the common sense that he has. And boys are supposed to be, underdeveloped more than girls are, at a certain point. So, oh, I feel bad if, for her, but I look at it as though I seen pictures of her and her family with him, and they were just enjoying him and everything like that, like he was just part of the family, because of course it's the money.
He probably.
And I just look at it as though, like, I have nieces, and I have little cousins, and things like that. I always tell them, sweetheart, no matter what, get your own first.
Hmm.
Get your own first.
Facts.
Number one first. That's the first thing that you need to do, is get your own. Your job, as far as like being to a husband or a boyfriend, is a helpmate. You got to come with something. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like she basically was used, but I believe that they used each other. I believe that she knew what she was doing. I mean, come on, Miss Akimi. The things that were said, during the court, I feel like you allowing someone to urinate on you, a kid would turn that down. So that's why
Exactly.
I'm just not understanding,
Hmm.
and then and then another thing is like, if we keep letting this get by, how will our young females learn from this?
Exactly.
If
I'm
we keep
with you.
letting, oh well, she was young and it's excusable. When are we gonna be like, okay, well, Cassie, you should have been more responsible for yourself. You
Facts.
should have. I'm not saying just get on her, but we gotta stop this. Oh, okay, she was young, and it's just every young girl is going to use that for an excuse, and that's why we got so many cases coming up right now. It's like, I love women, but we're kind of slipping through these cracks. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we all need to be accountable. Everyone needs to be accountable. How is the next generation going to learn from this? So they're going to get with a guy, an older guy, and because they see how everyone is viewing Cassie, oh, well,
Hmm.
they'll forgive me because I'm young.
Come on.
It's beginning to be manipulative. And we're
Yes.
teaching our young girls how to be manipulative, if you ask me, and
Yes.
not having accountability, not, working for self, and trying to develop themselves without having to have, a man or whatever like that to support them. So when are we going to hold our young women accountable? And that's what I want to see, because I have nieces and, I have nieces and cousins and things like that. And if I'm telling them, hey, don't do this and don't do that, but the media and the world is telling you, well, excuse them because they're young and they don't know any better. And he's a monster. Well, the whole world was
Cut out, baby.
stuff that he did to Kim. She's
Mm-hmm.
seen the stuff that he did to the first baby mama,
Mm-hmm.
where he whooped her under a car.
Mm.
So my thing is like, how do you not think it's going to be you?
See, I was unaware of anybody outside of Kim Porter, but see, I'm also naive to the timeline of him and Cassie and then him and Kim. I thought that they were kind of intertwined at some point. So you're educating me on a little more, giving me more
Miss
clarity.
Akimi, I don't want to say this, but I'm just gonna be real with you. But um, because of the industry I'm in, I've seen her and him drugged up. I'm just gonna be honest with you. That's
Yes,
why I kept putting in the chat drugs.
yes,
You
yes.
understand what I'm saying? This dude and anybody know that I'm telling the truth that knows about them. He carried a briefcase full of drugs.
I believe it.
So my thing is like, that was cool then. You get what I'm saying? That was like, okay, that was cool then. But now, and then this is another thing, what I really wanted to know. Why isn't her trainer husband testifying? If he was if he was his trainer, right? Why isn't he testifying?
Her current husband was
Her
Diddy's
current
trainer.
husband was his trainer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. So why isn't he testifying?
Ooh, great question.
It's just too many holes in this. And
Wow.
like your thought said, a lot of this stuff is distractions. Puffy is a plant. So a lot of this
Yes.
stuff is distractions. So it's too many holes in it for me. It's just too many holes.
And that's why I haven't been following it, because anytime there's a high profile case that involves some type of a celebrity or somebody in the industry, it's always a cover for something bigger underneath. And so I'm always
Exactly.
trying to look to see what's going on outside of that, which is why I don't give this type of subject my attention. But because I am invested in our nuclear families, our core families, and trying to, because it seems like the majority of people, this is what they want to hear. This is what they want to talk about. How can we relate and tie it in to something that you can benefit from, or something that you can learn from, as opposed to just being interested in finding out what the current status is, what their business was, how foul they were, what went on behind closed doors, as opposed to, okay, well, how can, like, you, and I appreciate you coming up here, because the one thing that you've done is just tie that into how we can make this applicable to our personal lives and to our nieces and nephews, our nieces, our nephews, our granddaughters, our
Right.
daughters, our upcoming generation coming up, and how we can see the signs and redirect them with the few people, with the few elders and the few Medias that we have left, and say that this is not the path you want to take. Look at this example. Is this
Correct.
the kind of an outcome that you are seeking? Are you sure that you're going to be different? What would make you different? You bringing out the fact that Kim Porter, his first baby mama, as well as Cassie. I mean, like, look at the what makes you different, what makes you so special and exempt from it, getting that kind of treatment, as opposed to everybody that preceded you.
Well, let me tell you, I look at it like this. Everything that you just said, but when you say, okay, well, you're going to get 30 million.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
In the
It's
blink
like
of
you
an
can
eye.
say that, huh? I'm sorry, Miss
In
Akimi.
the blink of an eye.
Right. Like, and this right here is not going to stop.
No.
It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop until we have to hold women, even the young females, we have to hold each other accountable with this,
Hmm.
because if not, they're going to be looking at this like licks. It's not going to stop. You're going to have younger females actually intentionally going after older men for that reason.
Absolutely.
You have 30 million, everything that you said, they don't care anything about anything when it comes to, you got to think about the young mind frame, especially today with society, everything online, everybody's showing, flashing, whatever. They're not, and especially if you come from a home that you don't have a lot, they're not going to be thinking about any type of like morality. They're going to be looking at it, she got 30 million. Just like
Right.
the situation with Shannon Sharp. You understand what I'm saying? So they're not going to be looking at any type of morality. And if we see that now, based on like the lifestyle of hip hop right now, that's morality is gone. But when you get, especially in this industry, there are no morals,
Exactly.
because a lot of the deals require you not to have any.
That's right.
So I
That's
just look at it like this. I just honestly feel like everybody should be accountable. Yes, Puff Daddy. I can't stand Puffy. Like, I'm not into Puffy. But
mhm.
what I'm saying is she has to be accountable because he didn't put a gun to her head. He did not put a gun to her head. No one is, I don't care
Cut out.
if you did put a gun to my head, you're not about to pee on me. The hell you say? I mean, come on now, a total stranger. You sitting up here letting all these men piss on you. Come on, Miss Akimi. Come
and
on
I,
now.
am I
We gotta
am
wake up a little bit now. We can't
I,
be all this kumbaya with this whole situation with this girl like this. I mean, come on now.
so let me because I heard somebody say that she actually, and I know I'm getting ready to get graphic here, but this is what was said, that he watched her perform acts with men while she was on her menstrual cycle.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You've been 19, you've been 20, you've been 21. Come on now. Would you have done that?
No,
Thank you.
no.
That's my point. And it's not about being scared. It's not, it don't have anything. I honestly think her fear was to going back to having a regular lifestyle.
So why do you believe that she got with his trainer and created a family with him?
Let me
Is he
tell you why I
healthy?
think she got with him,
Mhm.
because I feel as though he was the one who actually gave her the game.
Mm.
I feel like he was the one. It takes this one guy to come along to tell you, regardless of if you're dating a guy with money or not, it takes one special guy that comes around that's going to basically say, look, listen, I've seen what's happened. I honestly think he's an attractive man. You think Puffy ain't looked at that man? Come on now, Mr. Kimmy.
Hmm.
Come on now, Mr.
That's
Kimmy.
exactly what when you said trainer, I was like,
Come on now.
mm.
I want to know, out of all these people that he's invited in, why he didn't invite him in?
Yeah.
Especially the way he looked. Come
Hmm.
on.
Hmm. Come on.
I just don't feel, I feel like it's too many holes in this. And in regardless, let's say if he wasn't involved with them in any kind of way, where's his testimony of
Yes,
working
that's
with
what
him?
I want to know. How come we don't know nothing about this man?
That's my
Well,
point.
I
I,
don't know
it,
nothing about him.
it
Anyway,
doesn't make sense.
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. That's why I'm like, until he testifies, I'll believe it. But
Mm.
I don't believe anything right now until he testifies.
And he gets to benefit from the monies that she got, the settlement that she got from Puffy as well.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Where did he come from? Why didn't Puffy? Why weren't? Why I want to know? Like, was he ever involved with them sexually? Like, there's questions. You get what I'm saying? Like, where's he involved in this?
Mm.
I don't know if he actually was the one to actually, if it was a plot or whatever like that. I don't know. I'm not sure. But whatever the case is, they have a family now. He helped her get out of the situation with him. It does take a strong person to help someone get out of it. And maybe he told her like this, like, hey, you're a beautiful girl, but look at what you're doing.
Right.
He could have been the one that actually told the truth to her. So, I mean, that's one thing, but I just don't see how Puffy let him up. Out of all these men, that's an attractive man now, Mr. King.
He is very attractive. Yes. Yep. But I didn't know that there was such a connection between. That's too close to home for me.
Yeah, that was his trainer.
And it makes me wonder if there was some trauma bonding in that
Could have been.
relationship, since there was such a connection between Diddy and he was privy to a lot of information, behind the scenes as well. So I don't know, that just shed a whole nother light as far as I'm concerned. Again, I don't know what's going on. You're enlightening me as to some of the details, you in the chat. So it definitely is shedding some light and shifting my perspective on her. And you and everybody else is absolutely right. and
Let me
and
ask you a question. How
listen,
many how many young women that you know that are on drugs leave their drug dealer?
nah, I don't know of any.
I don't understand why drugs was not brought up in this with her.
Maybe that's a whole nother rabbit hole that goes in another direction they don't want it to go in, because it seems like they want the focus just to be on Diddy at this point, that they want him to be the scapegoat. And like you said, he's a plant, so
Hmm.
the focus should be on him. They want it to stay on him, and they want the narrative to be exactly what it is. He's a monster. He should have known better. And then again, I also wondered, like, okay, well, who had that tape? And it was years old, and why would they release it at the time that they released it? And what was the source that released it? I know
You know
TNT.
why they released it? Why I personally think why they released it?
Hmm.
Because he, right before they released the tape, it was odd. He did a interview with Charlemagne the God, and he wanted to do start a party with like our party type of thing. I don't know what it was. I can't give you the name, but it was basically starting a political party where, he was always campaigning for the Democrats. So he was going against the Democrats. And he was saying, I want to start a our people party to where, the people that don't have the fear and all this other stuff of politics and all of this, we can come together and we could start our own party. That's where he fucked up at. Excuse my
You talking
French.
about Charlemagne the God?
Puffy did an interview with Charlemagne the God.
So that was Diddy's stance.
That was Diddy's stance.
Oh,
He wanted to do it was some
oh.
type of thing where he wanted right before all of this happened,
Mm.
coincidentally, he wanted to start a party for like people, like saying, okay, instead of just the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, he wanted to start his own party. You can't do that.
Can't do it.
You can't do that.
You can't do it. Mm-mm. The
You can't do
timing.
that.
Yeah, no, that timing is definitely too coincidental.
Yeah. That right there to me is where they was like, don't play with us like that.
We have to let you know. We
Yeah,
got to let
and
you
they
know.
did.
And they did in a big way.
Yes. You don't cross the line with politics and then okay, you're thinking, okay, well, I got, a lot of y'all on video footage, So he has some
Yes,
politicians on video footage. So
ace in the hole.
yeah. So they're looking at it like, nigga, is you crazy?
On top of the fact that he, severed his relationship with the alcohol company.
Right? Exactly.
So he was testing the waters in big ways from different angles.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you know what they say, you can't get too big for your britches, boy.
That part, especially when we made you.
Yeah. And that's how they look at it. The music industry is all politics. That's what people get it twisted. It's all connected to politics. So
That
I just look at it as though he got too big for his britches. He was feeling his power, but did he? It don't work like that, sweetheart. It don't work like that.
mm, no, you can't. The people that make you, you can't supersede them and then give them directives on what your next move is. They were the
Mr.
ones.
Kimi, a lot of times, this is the sad part. A lot of times, like we get lost in our. To me, I think sometimes we get lost in our power position. Like he may have looking at other black men and say, "Hey, I got so much power." But when you're dealing in politics, you're dealing with multi-billionaires.
That's it. That's it.
You know what
That
I'm saying? Like, are you
transcend,
kidding me? They will, I mean, honestly, they will have your head cut off. You can't
and
stop
they
their money.
worldwide. They're not just isolated to one little country. They are worldwide. When you
Thank
start
you.
dealing in billionaire status, you are acknowledged and revered across the world.
Exactly.
How do you
Exactly.
think that he became worldwide known?
That's the point. You know what I'm saying? If they shot Trump ear, what you think they're gonna do to you?
That part.
What do
That
you think they're gonna do to you?
and he is a billionaire, exactly.
Exactly. This is
He did
gangster.
the
And
Kanye.
politics is gangster. Period. It's
As
not what you
gangster as you
think.
can get. As gangster as you can get.
It's gangster. And you played with the wrong gangsters. You should have just took the dancing.
Not that part. Appearing in everybody else's videos and giving them one liners. You really should have stood. That was safe right there.
That's
That's
what
what
I'm saying. He should have just took the dancing. It doesn't work like that. When you try to, I say this all the time, when you try to dibble and dabble in politics as an artist or a celebrity, you basically just you sign your career over. You're done. Everything that you work for is gonna be, I mean, it's basically they own you.
that's it.
I even look at the fact of Beyonce not performing, actually singing for Kamala.
Mm-hmm. Was it 10 million?
She did not even sing a note.
Nope. She
But
did
look
that.
at the situation Jay-Z is going through right now.
Mm-hmm. Come on now. Connect the dots.
Yeah.
Connect the dots.
Yes, you better sing, B. That's how they look at it. And you made Kamala Harris get booed. They see all of this. She was
Wow.
booed because you didn't perform. You made a mockery of her because you didn't sing.
And tap dance and do what you were told.
That's how it go.
We don't care what your name is.
Exactly. Exactly. Malcolm X said they use all of your celebrities, Lena Horns, they use Sammy Davis Jr., they use Dick Gregory, they use all of these people during that time, you know? And that's why I
They
said you
even
can't
used
get
Malcolm
into it.
X.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
They even used Malcolm X.
Yes. we're at a time like, I just look at it like this. And I always say what going back to what Kwame speaks on, it's just like to actually go to a Walmart is peaceful. Even though I know y'all was speaking about Walmart earlier, but to actually go into a Walmart and not be bothered,
Mm-hmm.
and to actually and let me tell you something, to actually go purchase a car
Yes.
without being charged overpriced, without
Yep.
being looked at crazy,
Yes.
it's just different things. Like I actually feel sorry for celebrities more than anything. I really do. You know, and they're put in a bad they're really put in a bad position. People look at the money or whatever like that, but what is money if you can't enjoy it? What is money if you can't you can't have peace?
You can't walk down the street without being mobbed.
Right.
That is very true. And you know what? It's funny because you sit back and you take for granted just the very mundane activities of everyday life, being able to maneuver and move around freely, or what you consider, to be free, um, about your daily task, about where you want to go, going to a coffee shop. It's
Hmm.
underrated. Like you said, the celebrities, you can't do that. You can't. Everything you do and say is under a microscope.
Yep.
You're going
Yep.
to be judged for it by
A
many.
bad hair day, a bad makeup job, a bad shoes, bad this, bad that. No one wants to be around you unless you're doing something for them at this point. Like your family is going to be your worst enemy.
Wow.
Your family is going to turn on you. The first people that's going to turn on you is your family.
And you don't need money for that to happen. But
Yeah,
I get
that's
what
true.
you're saying. I get what you say. I'm just,
Yeah, you ain't lying about that.
but you're right.
But
You
just imagine if you did and think
right.
about how your family turns on you.
Hmm.
The very look at the situation with Marvin Gaye. His own father killed him.
His
You know what I'm
own
saying? Jealous of him. His own father.
brought a whole nother meaning. I brought you in this world and I'll take you out.
Yeah. It's a sad situation. That's why I say, we have to really embrace and love the lives that we have, you know, and enjoy being able to have peace, enjoy being able to go to places without being hassled. And I feel like it's like if other countries are not like America when it comes down to celebrities. America's the worst.
The
But
wo-
I just look at it as though we take so much for granted. And I think that we should look at people that are in these, that have these careers, look at them as though they are just doing their job. If I
Mhm.
come to your job hassling you, you wouldn't like that. So let these people do their job, whatever their job is, as far as singing, acting, whatever, and it should not be taken any further. We should not be looking at them as though they are gods and that they are perfect. They're not. They're human. They're freaks, just like everybody else.
Yep. With a lot more temptation,
Right.
susceptible
Because
to
he
a
could
lot
have, this man could be with any woman he wanted to.
of
And
that.
I've heard someone say this before, that they could have sex with any woman that it becomes boring to them. That's when they go and dibble with men. But I believe you got to already have it in you.
Ooh,
But,
child.
you know,
But you speaking facts though, just giving a broader perspective or a different perspective to people that don't have those type of lifestyles and are not exposed to that type of lifestyle. That's wild. That is wild that you could become bored with having so many different women that they don't satisfy you anymore.
mhm. And that's the thing. They don't. It becomes like too much of something is bad. But then I looked at him. I think he been had an issue because I heard though where they said that when he was younger, his mother sent him to one of those places. What are they called? The Amish families during
Mm-hmm.
the summer,
Mm-hmm.
and he was sent there during the summer when he was a young boy. And I just don't. That doesn't sit right with me.
No, that don't sound right. I'm gonna say that don't sound right.
It doesn't. I never really understood that because I'm like, you let your son go off to an Amish family and like stay there for the summer. I didn't get that. The people
And
that
if
you
you
don't even know.
and if you look at the dynamic of the relationship that he has with his mother as a full grown man,
Facts.
it don't look right.
He called his mother every curse word in the world. He don't really have respect for his mother like that. They're more so friends. If your mother can go to strip clubs, I got a son. I would never in my life go to any strip clubs or anything like that around my son.
Awkward.
Like, come on. You are
Mm-mm.
like my son. No, the stuff that he does, but you can tell there's a you know, like a distance somewhere in there.
There's a
Even though it's like, yeah,
boundary.
they're cool and all, but that respect to me isn't there.
Mm-mm. And if it starts with your own mother, then it's going to transcend into every relationship you have with any female.
Come on, say that again. And what they're
Any
gonna be
female.
thinking, your mama just like every other woman. So if your mama's a freak, they're gonna think everybody else is a freak.
That's it. If your mother's not trustworthy, or she's not an honest woman, or
Mm-hmm.
she's not a respectable woman, all of that's going to transcend into every relationship. I don't care how much you distance yourself from your mother,
Say that.
it's instilled.
Yeah. So I just think it's a whole bunch of factors. If he's done these type of things in college, where he's accused of, you know, I guess sexually assaulting a male in college, then this had to come early.
See, I didn't know. Lord have mercy.
This had to come early. And I always thought about the fact, dude, you you lived with an Amish family for, I guess, I don't know if it was just for the summer or whatever, but that's awkward. And I think something happened to him for him to be doing all of this, Mr. Kimi. Something happened to him. But he's been known in the industry as a freak anyway. This is
But
old
that's
to
what I'm
me.
saying. It's like he hasn't been. So, according to the public, it's been shielded to an extent, but it can only, it's just based off of him not admitting it outright. But his behavior, his parties, his, like you say, with the baby oil, with his habits, he hasn't really been secretive about any of that.
Thank you.
You've listened to like Biggie, you listen to the groups. Remember his show where he was managing and producing the groups?
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of comments that were made amongst the men and the women. The women always felt disrespected and belittled, and the men always felt uncomfortable around him.
Mr. Kimi, Biggie had an album talking about, doing the number two on females.
Oh,
They've been
yeah.
doing this. These girls were going to places like Dubai, getting this done for money, for bags.
Well, you bringing it to the forefront, Lord
I
have
mean,
mercy.
like, this is my thing is like that whole industry, it is not just Puff
It,
Daddy. That
it's
whole industry is raunchy. The whole industry is raunchy. Like,
look
this is something that's been happening.
look
But it's
at the
like,
people that come out of the industry, or that realize that it's not what they assume that it, or they think it is, and look at how they how their lives end up.
Right.
It's like you pay a price to detach yourself because once you're in, you're in.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get permission to come out. So if you come out, you're gonna have to pay a price for that. It's you
Exactly.
information. They usually make you penniless until you have to do like side jobs in order to make ends meet. But the main thing that I've noticed is that they run your name through the mud to where ain't nobody checking for you.
There you go. There you go. Your name. Your name. My grandmother always told me your name is that's the best thing that you can carry is your name. And if a person can destroy your name and your reputation, they can destroy you. So I just look at it as though that's their tactic of destroying a person, like you said, is through their name, their image, their reputation, and then making them broke. Because if you're used to a certain lifestyle, you're used to, think about this, Mr. Kimi. Majority of the people that are in that industry, there's not even the money. They're more so addicted to the fame,
Mhm.
the places, getting into the doors. You know what I'm saying? Having people look at you in a certain way. Oh, is that such and such? That's what they're addicted to. It's that fame. The
Exactly.
fame is the addiction. It's not even the money, it's the fame. So my thing is like, once you take that away, you've destroyed them. They don't want to go and work at if they're dead broke, they're not gonna go and just say, okay, well, I gotta start all over. Well, I gotta go get a regular job. They don't want to do that. So
Well,
when
first,
someone says, yeah, can you come and pee on me or can I pee on you? And you're gonna give me a certain amount of money, they coming for it. They're gonna do it.
because even if they were to decline it and then go back to working a regular job, now it's a level of embarrassment. Why are you
Thank
back
you.
here when the
Yes.
world knew you for to be such and such, or you were at this plateau, or you were worth this amount of money, and had this level of hierarchy in society? Why are you here?
Let me tell you why. I'm going to go back to Kwame. This is why I support Kwame for this particular reason. Because he gets on a freaking tractor.
Yes, he does.
He shows, hey, I can get down just like anybody else. I'm human. This is how I'm going to make my money. And he's showing you from that celebrity perspective. That's one of the key reasons on why I support Kwame. Because so many other celebrities are in that position to where they don't have no damn money.
Hmm.
So they're trying to figure out what could I do? And I think that Kwame is going to inspire so many other celebrities to say, you know what? Maybe I could flip some houses. Or maybe I can get into buying a piece of equipment. You know what I'm saying? To where I'm not embarrassing myself,
That part.
but he's showing me a way that I can actually make money. I don't have to do this anymore. That's why I support Kwame.
That part. And I don't know anybody else is doing that,
I
and
don't either.
especially like him.
I don't either.
I want to address this real quick. I love how humble Kwame is. He don't want to be looked at like he's better than anyone. How can you not respect that? And yet, and still,
Yes.
we have a plethora of people that manage to try to switch it and use it as a weapon and as a way of demeaning him, as if, because that's why he gets so infuriated with being called and being revered as a celebrity, because it gives them an excuse to besmirch his name, to demean him, to
Mm-hmm.
say, well, how far have you fallen from grace, because you played in the NBA, you were the first draft pick. And think about this. This is one of the things that really impressed me about Kwame is that not only is he transparent about it, but he also has been transparent and said, look, they have stolen millions from me.
Come on.
I still have my name, and I still am not under the guise or the attachments of somebody that can have control over my likeness.
Come on. Say that. Say that
That's
part.
freedom. That is, I'll take 100,000 a year compared to 10 million a year
Come
if
on.
I got somebody telling me what to do with it.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I think that we should hold her accountable
I agree.
so that we don't have any more younger girls doing the same thing. Hey, go out there and go get a skill. Go out there and get a skill. Go out there and do some hair. Go out there and do some makeup. Go out there and go to college. Go do something with your life
Mm-hmm.
instead of
That
feeling like you
nobody
got to
can
be
take
pissed
from
on.
you. Yes. That nobody can take from you and that you won't be ashamed of when you create your own family. That's important.
Come on.
We have got to start thinking long term because respectfully, you got Cassie out here having babies. And now she has been a witness in a case that will reverberate through the media for years to come. You think her kids aren't going to catch wind of that?
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
have to say, my life hasn't been the easiest, but I'm surely thankful for it.
Me too, Miss Sakimi. I totally agree. Me too. And I used to look at it as though like, okay, well, you could have more. You could do more and all this other stuff. But it's like this where I am in my life. And people be like, well, you know, why are you so giving? I'm giving. It's not the fact that I'm just a giving person, it's the fact that I can say, okay, I'm gonna go buy some shoes. I'm gonna go buy a purse. I'm gonna go buy all of these things that it's not gonna do anything for me. It's not gonna
Hmm.
do a damn thing for me. It's gonna rust, it's gonna get old. And now we see, after all of these purses coming back from China, they're not worth a damn. They're not worth a damn. We
Say
don't.
that.
They're not worth a damn. And that's just the truth. So it's like we invest in all of these things to make us feel good. But then if you look at it like this, to actually give to someone to where they can actually build on their life, that's where I feel like God wants us to do. He doesn't want us to be just filled with greed and have all of these things, hoarding all of these things that don't even matter. I am so blessed and I continue to be blessed because I empty out my cup and
That part.
God fills it every time I empty it out. So I
That's
look
the
at it as though if we look at life like that and we look at blessings and money like that, we will never be without. I did my grandmother 80th birthday party on the 3rd. And, I spent a lot of money, I'm not gonna lie. But you know what? I was the last one to eat, and it was one piece of meat and like one vegetable. Okay. Mr. Kimi, the guy was like, I would have saved you, I would have saved you a plate or whatever. I said, let me tell you something. The last meal is always the best.
mm, amen.
It's always the best. And we have to learn how to be humble.
Yes.
I came up without. God blessed me with the skills and talents to have, but I had to learn. It took me so much. It took me learning for years about how to deal with money. I had to learn how to deal with money and how to make money work for me. And the
Yes.
only way that you can make it work for you is to understand your power over it.
Hmm. And using it as a tool.
That's it. That's it. It's only a tool.
That's
So when
it.
we teach our young girls, don't be so thirsty over money, and our young boys, don't be so thirsty over money. Let money come to you. Let it come to you. Maybe it's not right now, it's not coming to you because God sees that you're not going to do the right things with it. It's going to destroy you. In this case, right here with Cassie, it destroyed her.
Yes.
That $30 million is not worth all the piss and destruction she's already. It's not worth it.
And the stain that she's going to have to live with for the rest of her life.
Honey, wait till you hear them kids, those kids' friends, your
Yeah.
kids' friends talking about you.
That part. That part.
It's not worth it.
Mm-mm.
And I just look at it as though we have to teach our young girls. You can even this situation with Shannon Sharp. Okay, I understand the whole situation. Yes, you're getting this money. But let me tell you something. That money could fly straight out your hand. It could destroy you. If you get it the wrong way, to me, it's
Yeah.
going to destroy you.
Yes. And it's going to be fleeting. You're not going to have it long.
Say that. Say that. And that's the whole thing. I wanted just to give my opinion on that situation, Mr. Kimmy. I don't want to keep you up here long, but I just wanted to get, you
Hmm.
know, I wanted young females to see that this is not the route to go. And yes, we could say, okay, yes, he's a bad guy. We already knew he was a monster.
Yes.
But it's just like you have to be accountable for what you did as well.
Mhm. I agree. I agree that, it definitely sets a precedence. And now you're looking at the situation with Shannon Sharp, and he's got a OnlyFans chick that is, she not blinking an eye, don't care nothing about what people know about her. If they know that that's what she's in it for, it was a play to begin with. She's not doesn't seem to be concerned with any of that. But like you said, even though Cassie wasn't the first, it definitely seems like it was a quick lick, even
Oh
though
yeah.
nobody really knows behind the scenes, because they were in a decade, at least a decade long relationship. So who's to say what they went through and what she might have allowed herself to endure and go through in order to accumulate that kind of money? But according to the public and people that don't know anything about what's going on, that looks like an easy lick.
Of course. That's what I'm saying. And to any other young females, they're like, shit, man, please.
All I gotta do is link up with a
Exactly.
celebrity.
Exactly. That's what they're going after. That's exactly what they're going to be going after if we do not hold them accountable. My grandmother always said, the woman controls the sexual act. Always. If she doesn't control the sexual act, then it's rape. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Then it's,
Mm-mm.
but then it's that. You get what I'm saying? So why isn't that why isn't she suing him for that?
Right,
You
right.
made the decisions. You said you had fun. So I'm confused. But I get it. You felt that you were manipulated. I think more so of her being hit, by him. To me, that was more so okay. I understand that part. But as
Mhm.
far as like going up here testifying all this bull crap, like, come on. Like, we don't need to hear this.
No.
Your kids don't need to hear this. His kids don't need to hear this. Like, I didn't understand the point of that. And why isn't your husband testifying if he was his trainer?
So the only rationale that I could come up with as to why she did it is because if fear were to play a factor, she wants to make sure that he's locked up. And she
Right.
knows that she's a smoking gun, because if he gets released, she's the reason that kind of, in his mind, has probably kick-started all of this to begin with. Even though you spoke on the Breakfast Club interview and other catalysts that could have really just and probably did ignite this whole train wreck that's happening now, he's going to blame. First of all, he don't respect women, and according to what you said and other sources, that he, he's very disrespectful and has been to his mom. So it's going to be easy to blame a female. But that part, whatever little life she has carved out for herself, along with some of that money that she's accrued from him, she's going to want to spend that in peace. And she's not going to want to do that with the threat of him looming over her shoulder. That's just my take on it. I
I
could be
agree.
wrong.
I agree. I
But
agree.
either way it goes, I agree with you. I agree with Miss Yo and her perspective as well, as far as holding her accountable and not just putting all of the blame on him, and getting the, more information and enlightenment on the circumstances surrounding that whole relationship. It makes more sense to me, because looking at it through my little bubbling lens, not watching the trial, like I didn't see it, I got little tidbits, but yeah, that's just not something I would want to tell the world in a court setting, and then have people that love me or that I love, including my children, to be susceptible to that type of knowledge and information. As humiliating as that is and sounds, it's not something I would want to relive on a stand in court.
I don't think it helped her case
Mm-hmm.
because that's like if I'm on his defense team as an attorney, I would chew that up because you said that one of the things you said was you was in love with him. Then you
Mm-hmm.
said that you had fun, and you allowed these things to happen. So how is that going to destroy him? The fact that you was in love with him.
Right.
You're in love with somebody, you'll do anything with him. You'll do anything for him. Why didn't you stop?
And that was at least a decade long relationship. He's had other women. They've been back and forth. But if it was so bad, then why did it take 10 years before you made your move?
And then I think he was kind of swiffing, like, he was with other females. I think it was also being with, with him being with other females.
Out in the open.
He was in
I'm
the
not
open with
even
it
a
right
Diddy
there in
fan,
front
and
of
I
her.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that embarrassed her. And then I think also her music career. She's looking
Yep.
at the fact that, hey, my music career is gone. I'm
Mhm.
older now, you know, and I don't have a career. I've
And
been
she
depending
tried
on
the
you.
modeling. Remember, she
Right.
she did the modeling. He supported her on that end when her music career didn't take off the way she wanted to. But like you said, she started to get older.
Yeah. You
So
have
the
an age limit in
Yep,
that industry. So it's like my thing is like I just look at it as though she should have looked at number one, and you can go do your research, a 10 album deal, that's kind of like impossible.
impossible. Even if she was 12, like Brandy when she started,
Right.
that's still unreasonable.
The most people do is five or
And
maybe
that's
six, but not
pushing.
a 10 album. I've never heard of that.
But this is somebody you love, though.
You got to look at it like this, how she got him. He was
I don't know how she got him. You cut out. I don't hear you, sis.
Brian Leslie.
You cut out. Say that
Can you
again.
hear me now?
Yes. Hmm.
She was dating Ryan Leslie and he was managing her at the time. And he basically took her from him.
Oh, so she was already in a relationship when Diddy came along.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Child.
So I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, okay, man, Mr. Kimmy, we have been young. I'm sorry. I'm not with the bullshit. I'm just not.
No, and you're
Like
not
we have
supposed to
been
be.
young and we know better and we see
Yes.
through girls our that age. We know the
Hmm.
game.
Hmm. I just, I dated a couple of really wealthy men, but the money couldn't make me stay. So my perspective is going to be a little different, I think, in some aspects. So I
But
don't
you
really.
wasn't searching for fame.
No, I wasn't.
See, that's what I keep telling you. Most of these singers, it's not about the money. They want the fame.
Hmm.
They want to be able to go into all of these events and these award shows and all of these fashion shows and have the latest this and the latest that and be seen. A lot of this is attention.
Got it. Clout chasing. So
Clout
I get it.
chasing, attention. I keep telling you, that
Got it.
is the drug. It's not the money. It is the fame.
It's crazy.
It's the attention. When they don't have that attention and they don't have that fame, they lose it. Her fear to me was not having the fame. She's a beautiful woman. That woman could get any man she wanted with the money. That wasn't it. Trust me. That wasn't it. It was the fact that he had the clout.
He
He had
was
the
the
clout.
clout.
He was the
Mhm.
clout. Exactly. He was the clout. And he was the clout to her liking. She's young. You know what I'm saying? Let's say she got with another man with money. He didn't have the clout like Diddy. You
So
got to think
after
about that. It's
so
not the money, it was the clout, it's the fame.
so after year 3, 4, and 5, and she still has not gotten much closer to her promises or her goal of obtaining that kind of fame, then what's the excuse?
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you the deal
Talk
with
to.
that to me. So during those, let's say those 5 years of her being with him, right? Now
Mhm.
you're in deep. You're in too deep. You're at award shows. You're getting the perks without being the singer now.
Right.
So you're so caught up with you don't care to sing. She
Hmm.
could have got in the studio and made it. I don't think he would have stopped her from making an album. I think that she really didn't care anymore. I think that she looked at it as though I don't have to sing anymore. I'm getting more than a singer. What the hell?
Yeah.
What singer was you got to think about this. What singer was getting her type of clout being with Puffy?
Nobody.
Thank you. So she didn't
Well,
care.
if we had to say one person, I would probably say Mary.
And Mary was just as she was right there beside Mary.
Yes, she sure was. You right
She was
about that.
right there beside Mary and did not even have to do all of these albums. So to me, that just let me know, baby girl, you was just more so in it for you was just more so in it for the fame.
Hmm.
You like the perks. You got the latest from every designer because they was sending you free shit. You got the best, the respect from people because you're Cassie, you're Diddy's girl,
Right.
you know? So you take that away and tell me what you going to if she has a fear of anything, it's the fear of taking all of that away.
That makes sense.
Not the money. It's the clout, it's the fame, it's the perks. It's that lifestyle that you get to have, and you don't even have to make an album. Why not?
And then most of the time you unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of okay.
Miss
I
your thoughts. You are so correct. But she had many. Just think about this. If that man was sitting there allowing other men to have their spiritual acts in her, she was messed up. The drugs is a number one.
Mhm. Yeah, I can't imagine, like you said, she's a beautiful woman
Yeah.
in a position that millions of women would love to be in, that would do anything to be in, and yet and still you put yourself in a position to be in such degrading acts. First of all, if I'm in love with a man, I'm not going to look at him the same if he's comfortable with seeing me with other men, much less doing those types of acts, those degrading acts. It's just it. I can't comprehend that. That's
Oh,
just
Mr. Kimmy, it's a lot of them. Go take a look at Kim Kardashian's career. It's a lot of them. Go take a look at all of these actresses that you see on TV. Go look at all of their career. It's a dirty game. Trust me. She ain't the only one. She's not the only one.
I don't believe she is, and I believe that the industry is saturated with them.
Yeah.
But I think where I get a little convoluted in my thinking is like, y'all, they're good actresses on how they appear to be so happy and try to convince other people that this is the dream and that this is what you want to strive and obtain in your life in order to gain happiness. But behind the scenes, they're miserable,
Very.
don't have a lot
Very.
of self-esteem, which is why they get all of the plastic surgery. They're always
Mm-hmm.
doing the hair pieces, altering their appearances, getting the BBLs and all of this other stuff instead of doing it organically. There's just a lot of indications that show that there's some dysfunction going on while you're trying to convince the rest of the female world out here that that's the life that they want to strive to live.
Exactly. That's why I came up here. Because I'm like, I don't want any other female to see a young female to say, okay, well, well, he's a dog. He's dirty. He's this. He's that. Yes, he is. But what is she?
But what is she?
And I don't want my nieces to look at her and be like, okay, well, well, poor her and everything like that. And then you go find, you go find another man or older man and you get in that same situation for the money and the fame or whatever. So I just look at it like, I wish our young girls, just like Kwame is saying with the men, I wish our young women had other avenues of building skills and trades with themselves instead of having to do the things that they're doing as well, because it's a lot of that. It's a
Yes.
lot of these trips that are being taken. It's a lot of a lot of the, just if you look at Instagram, so to speak, you're getting these girls, you got beautiful women, beautiful girls. Instagram is a pimp.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram is nothing but a pimp. It's getting paid for you to show your ass in front of the world, and I get the money.
Facts. Facts. And
That's how
facts.
I look at it. And we got to look, and this is how I talk to my nieces. Like, don't get pimped.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get pimped. Don't show something that is supposed to be meant for your husband. Don't show them. I mean, yes, you can, oh, you got a boyfriend or whatever, you doing it secretly, but don't go put it to the world where they can get it for free.
That part. And you be pimped out doing it, like you said. You got other people getting the monetary gain, and you just out here doing it for nothing.
Well, see, that's what he had her doing. He was pimping her. for his own sexual satisfaction.
Mm.
He was pimping her from the start, but you got to look at it. You're automatically being pimped when you're in the music industry anyway.
Yes,
So you're
fact.
automatically gonna be pimped.
That's it.
So I
And
just
you
look
ought to
at
be
it like
used to
that.
it by that point. So Instagram is just another pimp.
Exactly. All it is a pimp. YouTube is a pimp. All of it is a pimp, and they're pimping our youth. They're exploiting us in every kind of way, and they're getting their money from it. Just like in this sector, with all of the arguments and all of this and all of that, you know, they're getting paid off this. They love it.
They are. Yep.
They love
Facts.
it. They love our, there's money in dysfunction.
Say that again.
And they're getting paid off this, the Puff Daddy situation. Everybody's talking about it.
The more dysfunction, the more they get paid.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. So they had to create dysfunction in order for things to happen. You gotta think about this. You have companies, in the music industry, they're getting backhanded paid off the prison system. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yep. Come on with it. You preaching. You preaching.
So
Look
all
at
of
the
it's
rap
connected.
music.
You got to think about that. If I can create the disease, I can create the solution.
That part.
You got to realize that. So that's what they're doing. They've been doing that to us for years, Miss Akimi. And I just look at it like this, from my perspective, hey, young females, don't be a Cassie.
Hmm.
Yes, he's a monster, but she had to have a damn monster in her too to let somebody piss on you. I'm sorry,
I
to let different
agree.
people pee on you is not normal.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I was in my 30s before I knew what golden showers were.
Right. I didn't learn about that until R. Kelly.
That's
Were you about that time, Miss Akimi?
yeah, that's when he was with that what's her name's niece? Sparkle.
Yeah.
That's when I heard about. I was like, "What is golden? What are you talking about?" Somebody explained that to me. I was like, "That can't be real." It is. It's
But
it.
anytime someone is that eh, freaky, that means they will go further. And that's where you got to see that red flag. Like, okay, you're going to go there, then what else you would do?
Man, listen, that part. That's
So we have to kind of, I just think that we need to get back into like this old school way of thinking and living because this ain't working. Like, I think we are like really getting out of hand with a lot of different things, and I think we're also being persuaded by what other people do. Like this right here, he's doing, yes, this may seem bad what he's doing, but it's gonna be some idiots out there that follow this.
absolutely. They already are doing it. They've been doing it. This is not really new. It's just the person that's being highlighted.
Right, exactly.
Look at all of the. I mean, like even in my generation, there's a huge. There was a huge sickness growing up with family members, like the uncles and the male influences in the family touching on family members,
Right,
our late nieces, granddaughters, or whatever.
right.
The little niece friend that come over and stay the night, that kind of thing. And then it was conditioned that people are supposed to keep that under the. You're not supposed to tell family business. That's not
Woo,
something
honey, say
you
that.
let out. And then guess what? Those touched girls grow up to be damaged goods as women and procreate and have more children. And now you're passing that sickness, that untreated sickness, because you were taught to keep it a secret.
Come
And so
on.
now, guess what? It's a generational curse and a generational sickness that is being passed along. So it's
Say
just
that.
transformed. It's not really, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's just, it's
You are
manifesting in
absolutely
different
right. I
ways.
had a friend of mine, Miss Akimi, who they did a documentary on strippers. And he just wanted to see how many strippers were actually victims of assault.
Mm,
Young. It was probably, I think he said it was probably like 95 or somewhere in that percentage of females that were victims.
I'm not surprised. I am not surprised because that is not normal behavior. And when it goes untreated, it is going to manifest in so many different avenues and ways. The inability to have relationships,
Amen to that.
to keep secrets. There's an old saying that you are as sick as your secrets.
Oh, honey.
Man, listen. So a lot of times in my generation, a lot of people were very sick because that's what they were taught. You were shamed if you called out people. A lot of times you were punished, like the Medias and the grandmothers would punish you. How dare you bring that out and shame our family and humiliate our family like that? And then there were a lot of girls that were not believed. You just fat.
Right.
You just fad. Maybe if you didn't walk around with them short shorts on like that, excuse
Right.
grown men from being inappropriate with young girls. It is just
Exactly. 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 I mean, I remember coming up, knowing like it's uncomfortable when you see older men looking at you,
mhm.
so I know that just from being a young female myself.
Same here.
You felt,
With the lustful look. There's a difference
yeah,
with a man looking
yes,
at you and with the term of endearment as opposed to lusting after you. And innately that there's something that's not right with that. I don't care how, just like Michelle said earlier, even babies know right from wrong. So you
right.
can pick up that something is inappropriate about that, even if you weren't taught that at the very least. But I'm telling you, when you got family members that shame you for calling it out, it's something wrong with that. We've
I
dropped the
agree.
ball somewhere.
I agree. I feel like you just letting the devil have his way.
That's it.
And that's how I look at it. I look at it no other way. And like, if someone tells me that somebody did something to them near me, close to me, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna be
I'm
the wrong one.
I'm singing the alarm. I'm causing all kind of ruckus.
Exactly.
And I will. You can hate me, and the whole family could turn against me. But guess what? At least y'all know.
Exactly. Exactly. I have like experienced like some of my friends telling me some horrible, when I say horrible stories that has happened to them in their lives. And I'm just like, but it's the same thing. Oh, you can't tell, that it's this family secret shit. Like, first of all, what is family and what is a relative?
That part. Come on
You
now.
know what I'm saying? Family
Come
is going to
on.
stick with you through it all.
Come on.
They're going to be there, and a family could be a total damn stranger. You know what I'm saying? That could be a family member to you. But a
Yeah.
relative is someone you just grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
You're just related to. So I had to learn the difference between relative and family. It's two different things. So my thing is like, I've seen them go through what they went through in their lives and relationships and stuff like that. And a lot of times it's abuse. They take abuse. They can be more promiscuous. They could date
Mm-hmm.
more, men after men because they don't even have a feeling.
That's right.
So I just look at it like we got especially in the black family.
Dynamic. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we hold so much in our families. Like, this is just like, what the hell? Like, who are you supposed to be? You ain't Knox Landing.
tell
Talking
them
about
that
keep it.
though.
Talking about not don't mess up the family secret and shit. They got no money, no nothing. Talking about some what? Come on, get
So
out of
what makes
here.
you so special that we need to keep your secret?
Exactly. And it's
Man,
crazy. But I just look at it like we gotta do better. We just have to do better. We have to do better. And like I honestly think something happened to Puffy. Why did your mom send you to this Amish family? And I'm not understanding that long.
even beyond that, like when he was grown, I have seen pictures of him or little video clips with him and his mom, and they're kissing each other on the mouth. They're talking to each other like they're spouses instead of mother and
Yeah.
son. It is just a weird dynamic to watch, and at that point is like where I knew something had to be off. And then the first thing I wanted to know is where is his dad? So I knew his dad was a hustler or a pimp or some,
Mm-hmm.
he's in the street, but I didn't know the if he was still had a relation in contact, if they had any kind of relationship, if his dad was even living. But that was the first question I wanted to know is where is his dad? How come I'm only seeing pictures with him and his mom?
I don't think his dad was really in his life like that because of his lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
especially back then,
Right.
as well. But, and you could tell big time that he wasn't. To me, he's always just been feminine. I don't see, I guess in my eyes, I don't see what these women saw in him. I've been to a club one time, Miss Akimi. This is like, I want to say this was like in maybe 2000. And he walked in, and I kid you not, every single female ran straight to him that
Mm.
was in that club. Puffy, 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 puffy. Just like it was, I've never seen anything like it. They ran straight to this man.
As much money as he has, I have never found him attractive.
I don't either. I don't
You
either.
know how you have a lot of men out here that, the money really makes a difference in their appearance,
Yes.
and even if how they dress, how they carry themselves, their hygiene, just little
He
tweak,
looked
whatever
dirty, don't he?
their inconsistencies or their weakness, what they could deem to, to be their weaknesses, they have money enough to make it doable.
Right.
It's never, I don't, there's nothing that he's been able to do that makes him more attractive to me. I just never found him he just looks nasty to me, always
Don't
did.
he look dirty?
He does, he look like he smell.
Don't he? Oh my God, Mr. Kimmy, I said the same thing. He just looks so dirty, like his skin is just like so oily and just musty looking.
Hmm.
I've never been, I said the same thing. I've never been attracted. He doesn't have that masculinity. He just don't have it. He just
At
don't
all.
have it.
Mm-mm.
I
It's
just
like
can't,
he
I don't
tried
see how
too
women
hard.
were attracted to him either. Even with the money. I can't, I cannot see it
I can't
at
do it.
all. Now, if this was Denzel.
Nah, he don't even need no money. Let me stop. But he don't need. He can get a pension and a
Mr. Carey,
401k, and we be good, okay?
if that was Denzel now, hold up.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Lord, I mean, really. Now, I understand that part,
Yeah,
but no, That's when I'm talking about he has zero attraction to me.
no,
Zero.
can't do it.
No kind of masculinity or anything.
And then
I'm
when
just like, I don't see it.
you
Huh?
see how you see the beautiful women or the caliber of women as far as the beauty standards go, and how he just lands them left and right. And I've always wondered, outside of the money, if you take the money, those will be non-existent in my opinion. He ain't got that much game.
You
It's
know
not
what it is? I'm gonna
natural.
tell you what it is. I'm about to tell you what it is.
Uh-oh.
So he's feminine. So he can help you with your shoes. He can help you with your purse. He can help you with your outfit, your hair, all of that.
Lord of mercy.
You think it's a game? I'm telling you, it's a lot of women out here dating bisexual men and don't realize it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I agree and I digest what you're saying now, but I remember when he ran a marathon in New York and he had his show. It was on and I caught an episode and he had just got done running that marathon and he sat down on the bed and took them shoes off.
Oh, hell no. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Beautiful
Oh.
one, them feet look like bear claws.
Hold up. This is the same one. She licked his feet now.
I know who licked his feet.
Cassie. They
I
had
know
pictures
you
of her licking
lying.
his feet. Girl,
I
stop.
know you lied.
Yes,
I
she
have
did. That was a
seen
long
his.
time ago. That
Oh
was
my
a
God.
long time
Well,
ago.
so was the marathon.
That's disgusting.
So was that was when he had the show and he was producing all of those acts. In one of
Nasty.
the
Ooh, wait.
episodes, he ran a marathon and they videotaped him in the aftermath and he went into his hotel room and took those. He was complaining about his feet with certain girl. He took them shoes off and
Mm.
did a zoom in on those feet. I have never forgotten those feet ever. There's
First of
no
all,
way.
I ain't forgetting the fact you just ran a marathon and sat on the bed.
he
I'm stuck right there. I'm just,
he
I'm
laid
stuck
back
at
on the
that part.
bed. He was so woe out. He was oblivious. He laid his butt down there, but he took them. I'm telling you, he took them shoes off. I have never to this day, I have never seen feet that unattractive and that unwell, except the one that Kwame shows on his on that thumbnail. Nah, that beat that beat Diddy's feet. I will say that's one of the few times I have
Oh,
seen
Lord.
something as repulsive as his feet. But I don't know. But see, I was always taught that your feet are a representation of the state of your health.
That is. It
As
is.
soon as I saw his feet, I was like, you ain't healthy on the inside. Something is off with you.
Look at his skin, though.
It's bad.
His
It's
To
bad.
me, it's his skin.
Yeah, see, but I got a closer up on them feet than I
I didn't
did.
see his feet, Mr. Kimmy.
Oh,
I
them
know she
feet.
had his feet in her mouth.
Oh.
And
Now
I
she
didn't know his
had me
feet was
on
bad until you
something.
just said that. But that he took a picture where if you can look it up, she had his feet in her mouth.
Oh, that was on a picture. That is actually available to the public.
Look it up.
Okay, hold up. Uh. I think it's too close to my bedtime for me to see.
Girl.
So traumatized. Hold on a minute.
She was she was kissing his feet in a bed.
Uh,
I'm like, if you do that, then you were down with everything.
well, you gotta be.
And he
You
posted
gotta
it.
be. Okay, I see a picture of him. Oh no, they say she was rubbing his feet, but that's not an actual picture. I'm gonna do my research because
Go look that up, Mr. Kimmy.
it ain't very forthcoming on
I'm sitting up
Google.
here like if you go to that extent, then what? I mean, hey, it is what it is. He was wrong. Yes, he's wrong because he knows better. He's an older man. He knew better. He knew what he was doing. But she was pimping him too.
Gotta be
She was getting the money. She was getting the fame. She got what she wanted.
the
It's just
lifestyle.
it comes with a cost.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with a cost, and I believe that her husband gave her the game.
Mm.
And he may have been the one that she outed it, everything to. And you know what I'm saying? May have
She
been that
said that
one.
in the documents, in the transcripts, when the settlement transcripts, that was stated. She told her husband was the one that actually, according to her, prompted her to actually sue.
I believe it.
I believe that too, because everybody in that family gains the benefit, and she's having his children, so
Oh, he's
that
good.
ain't nothing but financial security.
Oh, he's good. He's set. He's set. He's good. But why didn't you testify?
I still can't get past the fact that he was his Diddy's trainer that she married.
Yeah.
That makes sense because they moved to a whole nother country, right? Her and her
I'm
husband.
not sure. It would
Yeah,
be smart if they did though.
they did. They moved to another country because when she was dealing with the settlement documents and the attorneys, there was lingo stating in the papers that her husband was at home with the kids and she was in the United States, making sure everything was good. But she couldn't wait to get back home because she felt very vulnerable and unsafe here in the States.
Wow. That is just so sad. I mean, it's sad. It's so sad, and I just feel like she should have had someone, even Mary. Somebody should have told this young girl or her parents should have
Hmm.
talked to this young girl about what was going on and how she was feeling at the time. A lot of times they might be just looking at the outside like, oh, Cassie's doing great, Cassie's doing, wonderful. She has this. She's over here and everything like that, but no one questions how she's really doing on the inside.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you because the mask is so, it conceals so much. I
Yeah.
mean, they're in the limelight enough to where they're gonna slip every now and then. You'll be able to pick up some things here and there, but as much as she was visibly with him on red carpets, at events, in the
But the
line.
drugs, Miss Akemi, why didn't anyone say anything to her about the drugs?
Maybe because they all were doing it. You know what?
That's
He
true.
strikes me as being a person that if you're around him, you got to do what he does.
That's true.
That way
I'm
you
telling
can
you,
have
this
leverage.
dude came to this studio with a suitcase full of drugs.
Mm. Now, I
And
think they
she's
said,
dopey.
and say that again.
She's dopey. He carries a suitcase. They know that. People,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. The industry knows this dude. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody's being silent because they know him. But my thing is like they all knew this about him. And they knew she was on them pills. Like, come on, man. Like
Well,
they
look
knew
at,
these things. And I'm just like, why is this all? I guess the shocking part about, the inviting other men type of thing is the more so the shocking part. But everybody knew what type of dude Puffy was.
yes. Well, if you think about it, a lot of them interacted with him and was at one of those parties at some point or another. So it's
Right.
like and just like with the Epstein situation, there were so many people that have so much to lose that it's better just to be kept mum is the word about the
True.
whole topic, because if one rabbit hole leads to another, to another, to another, we got a president in the office that has been photographed at one of those parties or more. So it's,
Right.
you know I get the same if you think of it as a system or as a method of in the industry. The music industry and the celebrity status to me can't be too much different from the politics and the
It's
political.
all in the same. The
Exactly.
music industry is politics.
That part, very well said.
It's
That part.
all the same. That's what people got to realize. The music industry is politics.
Hmm.
Believe it or not.
It transcends. Absolutely.
Exactly. And you got to wonder why Tupac spoke the way he did. Tupac was political as well.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I honestly think that's one of the reasons why it was so easy to, for them to get rid of him because he knew too much.
He knew too much, and he was too vocal. He was very vocal about what he knew.
Right.
Hmm.
Exactly. And powerful.
And unapologetic.
Exactly. And see, that was the problem. He was too much.
Mhm.
Tupac was just entirely
Too
too much
much.
for the
He was
industry.
too much.
Yeah. I
He
mean, coming
was.
from a Black Panther family, you know what I'm saying? So your mother's already giving you the game.
Hmm.
He was already intelligent. He already had the street smarts. So now you got power behind you. And the power is in your fans. So they know the minute you start speaking in certain ways, you're going to be more powerful than a politician.
Facts.
So they look at it as though you're going to be too powerful. Let me tell you something. And I'm going to tell you this. So check this out. There's a record label. There's a major, well, distribution company, right?
Hmm.
And there was an artist, an up and coming artist, who they found who was like getting a lot of hype off Instagram. But the kid only, he was young and he only like was big with guns. Check this out. One of the major players of that distribution company wanted to actually, and it was like out of the ordinary, getting a private jet for their family and everybody to come because that's how bad they wanted to sign this kid. The kid had no real, to me, talent, but he always spoke about guns. His whole thing was guns, 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 guns. And he was underage. That right there alone told me everything I needed to know.
That part.
Why would
Me
one of
too.
the main runners for this distribution company want to sign this kid that bad?
It's
That
all
let
in
me know
house.
everything I needed to know.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so you got to look at it as though it's money in destruction, in our demise, especially our youth.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They don't care anything about talents. I can market anything
Hmm.
as long as I do it as like a repeat, give it to you in a repeated amount of airtime and play. You're gonna be singing whatever the hell I give you
Whether you like it or you
or
don't.
not.
That's it.
So we have to understand that, just like even YouTube. That's why I take breaks, because I don't want to get caught up into something over and over and over. I'm doing it where it's becoming an addiction, and here I am getting involved in something who I am totally not. I become,
Yes. Understood.
so I just look at it like that, and they play us like that.
Hmm.
We are getting totally played. They're playing our children with the females, they're playing our young boys with the males, and they're doing it and they're getting profited off of it. Like you said, the prison system. Why do you want to sign this kid and all he promotes is guns?
Well, look at the hip hop industry was totally hijacked, and now it's
That's
gangster
true.
rap. I think Demia Lewis mentioned this a little bit earlier too, and it's like, okay, one hand washes the other.
Yeah.
So you got the low vibrational demonic music with the low megahertz, and then you market it to a specific group of people, and the same record labels that market the music and produce it, sell it, make all this money off of it, take that same amount of money or that same those funds from that amount of money and fund the and invest and fund the private prison system.
The distribution companies. Don't
Yep,
say record labels. The distribution companies.
distribution.
They
Okay,
are the ones that need to be held accountable. Everybody goes straight to the record labels, they go straight to the rappers. Don't go straight to them. We have to look at the distribution companies. They're the ones with the checks.
got
They're
it.
the ones with the say so's. And just like even in, and I'm going to say this, even in Drake's case, see, a lot of people don't understand that's bigger than what you think. That whole situation is bigger than what you think. The whole Kendrick Lamar situation, that's bigger than what you think.
Of course.
And they give us the surface, but behind the scenes is way bigger than what you think. Let me tell you something. The hip hop industry is politics.
Hmm.
And I'm going to leave it at that. It is politics. It's all politics. When Kwame said, when he was speaking about, you know, basketball players and how Stephen A could go on there and basically talk about a basketball player. And next thing you know, when it's time for him to sign his deal, they can lower it based on public opinion about the
Yes,
person now.
by design.
So, and the
Mm,
name, remember, we go back to the name. If I can destroy their name,
yes,
then guess what? When it's time for them to get to that signing, I can lower the number now.
and
It's
still
all
get the
political.
same performance and have even more requirements out of you.
Yeah, I can lower the number now. And let's not get this mistaken, black fathers. Drake has a black father. Why are they not acknowledging him as his father? He has a black father. So there's no such thing as not like us.
Mm. Ooh,
Let me tell you something. I'm telling you, I'm gonna always go back to what you know. You got to think about everything is political. Everything is political. There's no black. You got to think about this. How many fathers are involved in their kids, or any adult in the music industry? You see only mothers. You don't see fathers.
mm-hmm.
They didn't want to acknowledge Drake's father at that either, and the fact that he has a new deal coming up. So okay, now what? We're gonna lower it now. We're gonna lower your value. And they use us as the gimmicks to be able to be the ones that do that.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's just, I just,
and our kids suffer.
like, you got some mixed children, or you tell some mixed children, you're not like us. You're not like us. Who is us? And I love the beat. I love the song. I do. I really do. But it
But
was
that's
meant politically, it was for politics.
but it's those songs that they want to push the most that have the catchiest beats,
Of course.
that are the most rhythmic,
Of course.
to the point where a lot of our people are not conscientious or pay attention to the lyrics. They learn them, they say them, even though once you say it, it's planted in the subconscious, but conscientiously they're unaware
Hmm.
of the power of what they're saying because they're so hypnotized by the rhythm or the beat.
Come on.
That's how smooth they are with it.
Yeah.
Like you go into a club, and depending on the timbre of the music, fights. I think Kwame has spoken on this. I've seen this even
Oh,
when
I
I was
know
in
I
my
have.
20s. Yeah, going to the clubs, depending
What?
on what kind of music they play,
What?
it's going to determine the mood of the club, and if fights break out, if guns are pulled out, if females are fighting,
Yup.
chairs are flying, if drinks are being thrown, and then it transcends out into the parking lot.
Exactly. Exactly.
All about frequency. That's right, Mia.
The new movie, the what is the movie? My son just we went to go see it the other night. With Michael B. Jordan.
Sinners.
Sinners. Did you see that?
I did.
Okay, so that's exactly what we're talking about.
Hmm. And do you remember how sultry the music that the vampires were singing? How
Right.
smooth and how melodic it was. It
Right.
wasn't, I mean, it was like you had to really look at their expressions and pick up the vibration in order to realize how demonic it was. But on the surface, it was almost relaxing.
Hmm.
Harmony was tight.
Yes. Yes. And how they use, these the ones with the most spiritual. I looked at the young guy as the one with the spiritual gift.
Yes.
And that's what they want.
And that's what they want. That's right.
That's what they want. They want that person like, yeah, think about these choir singers who come from the choirs, like Aretha Franklin, all these people that come from this hardcore, a lot of people come from the church. Gotta realize that. You know what I'm saying? And the
Mhm.
music industry exploited them all.
Every last one of them.
It exploited them all. The older and the younger. And it's like, when are we keep saying, and that's what I tell people, please understand, don't keep saying record label, distribution companies. They are the banks. They are the ones paying. They are the ones hiding behind the record labels. They're the ones with the money. They're the ones with the check. They give the decisions, the final decisions. They're the ones. And we don't hold them. Those are the ones that got the connections with the prison systems.
Mm.
Those are the ones connected to all of your major politicians who they come to. Hey, I need for you to get such and such to do this.
That's how you know it's politics.
Yes, it's all politics.
It's all the same.
Yeah. And if they don't do it, you're going to make us look bad. You're going to make us look really, really bad. And if you
Oh, hmm.
notice this, Drake never campaigns for nobody.
Nobody. I have noticed that. And I'm not even a huge Drake fan.
He does not campaign for anybody. And he's one of the largest artists ever, rap artists, hip hop artists. He doesn't campaign for anybody. He does not speak about politics. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't even, a lot of people like, okay, yeah, he's Jewish, he's Jewish, he's Jewish, but that doesn't have anything to do with it. He's also a black Jew.
That part. Mm. Boy, connecting the dots. It's all coming full circle. I hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah. And he's, a lot of people, that's why I say we all got to know what we talking about sometimes. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? In order just to be like, okay, we're just going by what we hear, and this is what, we got to think about things. Why is he not considered black and his father is black? Why is he doesn't, I'm not understanding that. His father doesn't count.
Yeah, that part, because I didn't even realize he was biracial until he had been in the industry for some years.
Yeah.
And then his father was spoken on, because I don't believe his father was spoken on when he first came out, unless you correct me if I'm wrong.
He came out a little bit. He was like just coming out, but his dad is like very, very, very influential to his music. His
Okay.
uncle is. I tell you who his uncle is. His uncle is what's the guy that used to be on the radio show? He had a very popular radio show with a deep voice. I can't think of his name, but his uncle was actually. He said his uncle was, the most influential, but his father's a musician as well.
Okay, because I used to see him honor his mom, and she's
Hmm.
been in a couple of videos. But like I said, it had been, I think he was like his second or third album in when I saw his dad be noticed, or he included him. I don't know if it was a documentary or it was something to highlight Drake's accomplishments, and then I saw his dad.
Yeah, his dad has been a part of his life. But I think in the beginning they had a rough time or whatever like that. But like towards the end, like he started really acknowledging his father. But I'm just like, why is this? Why is this the topic? And we got
Right.
to think about they're trying to build up some type of racial dynamic with us during that time, especially during that time, because
Mhm.
everybody was campaigning. And that was going to be the campaign song.
Wow.
They not like us. But Kamala Harris is biracial. And Obama is biracial. So we really didn't make any sense with it.
Hmm.
It's crazy, but you know, I just think that we gotta enjoy our lives, the lives that we have, and always look at any type of celebrity influence is gonna be something behind it. Like Miss Your Thought said, it's gonna be something behind it. It's some type of distraction a lot of times. Like why we didn't get this much with Jeffrey Epstein. Cassie's not a politician.
Listen, and no
Cassie's not a
matter,
politician. What does this have to do with us? I want to find out those people like the Clintons and everybody else who are actually politicians where it does have something to do with my life. Why didn't they get that type of hype? I'm not understanding that.
because they were, I forgot I was live. You already know why.
Yeah,
I already know why. And no matter how much pushback the people give as a collective, it's not up to the people. That's what kills me when they talk about we the people, or the
right.
people decide, or the vote matters, or this. I tend to think differently.
I agree.
I
I
just
definitely agree. I agree. It's sad. It's like we are so caught up into this, but it's just like we have to just focus in on what's going on in front of us in our own lives. I just feel like all of these things are being thrown at us, especially this type of stuff like this just does not see, it's too graphic, you know and I,
yeah,
I never heard of anything
it's
like
too
this.
straight up.
Right.
Hmm.
But we
It,
hide the fact that y'all had, with Jeffrey Epstein, y'all had minors, y'all had little girls.
hmm. They,
Cassie's a grown woman. I want
yeah,
to know about these little girls that my politicians were involved with.
at the very least.
Exactly. And people making decisions as far as our health care is concerned, like Bill Gates. Like, why are we not? in tune with this. We already knew Puppy was a freak. Cassie's a grown woman. You know, regardless, she was a grown woman. But why didn't we hear about Epstein? Why wasn't that as big of a case? Even Harvey Weinstein. Like, why aren't those cases brought to the forefront like these Diddy cases?
Great question.
But great question. But guess what? Here's the thing: Black journalists are always running to hurt our own.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't Black journalists working to, hey, let's focus on the Epstein case? I never saw a Black journalist speak about Epstein cases. I've never.
Well, if you're referring to the platforms, they will get shut down and silenced, particularly on certain platforms that we speak on too. So, as long as we don't have our own and control our own and are subjected to being silenced and being limited in what can be spoken on and what not, I think that's going to be a point of contention either way.
Right. Right.
But I agree with you. I think what is with this? I know it's probably past everybody's bedtime, but before we go, I want to just touch on this because I've been seeing a lot of headlines and titles on the Black fatigue. Are you familiar with that?
What is that?
So the Black fatigue is Black people being sick of other Black people, particularly
Okay.
when it comes like when you have, okay, let's just use for example the women that are very independent. They don't need a man. They don't need a man to raise children. They don't have to have any reciprocity in a relationship. They need a 6-figure, 7-figure man, and they bring nothing to the table but their good looks and their butt and a smile, that kind of thing. And then you have your group of maybe college educated or affluent Black people that think that some people are ignorant. They think that the modern women are lost, or that they're sick of hearing the rhetoric, like on the platforms, particularly where it's played over and over and over again with you know just as I said, like, well, we don't need a man, or we this, or if they're uneducated and they're ghetto, or if they're on Section 8 and they get EBT and they don't want to do anything different, or they don't want, and they justify it. So it's just like a fatigue. And then you have some Blacks that believe that there is a group of Black people that are being used as tethers to say things that other races of people won't say because they may come off racist.
Mm-hmm. I can say that I've probably been Black fatigue myself. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I know I have. I know I have. Um, it may not be so much immediately, but over periods of time, depending on what's going on, like going out in public. And then, just like, okay, so there's this video of this woman with her son, her arm around her son in a Wendy's. And I don't know what sparked it, but when the person starts recording, the woman is going in on the manager, calling her out her name. She's the whole time she's got her son. Her son can't be no older than 10 or 11 years old. And she's just hurling out all of these expletives. And then she starts slinging stuff across the counter, throwing shit. She on the way out, the little drink stations that's separate from the counter, the main counter,
Mm-hmm.
destroying and just vandalizing the entire restaurant in front of her son while she's insulting everybody. And it's like there seems to be a lot of that going on. I don't know if it's in the food. I don't know what's going
I'm
on.
gonna tell you my opinion on that. Mr. Kimi, I think that there's a lot of mental illness in our community and we're not facing it. Just like what you just said, what we discussed earlier, you got a lot of abuse in these families that are
Mm,
going on and that are hidden. And I just feel like there's a lot of mental illness in our community and we don't get the help for it. We don't get the help for it. It's a lot of I'm just going to speak on black women because that's been my fatigue.
mhm,
I'm just going to be real with you. My fatigue has been my own black women. Like as far as like this anger and this hate for one another. And I look at it as though you hate yourself.
mhm,
You hate yourself. That's why you look at me as an image of you and you hate me because you hate you. And it's easier to hate me because I look like you.
mhm,
And I just, it's the mental illness, it's the problems like all piled up because we don't know how to express ourselves. We express ourselves, even like you got to think about, she probably saw that from her mother or
absolutely.
we're repeating cycles over and
Yes.
over because nobody is saying, hey, look, this is wrong. Big mama, and I thank God I still have mines, but it's a
Mhm.
lot of people who don't have
You cut off,
the
Mama.
people that don't have what I have. And you never don't have grandmothers that want to be in the clubs, that want to be partying. They're not nourishing, they're not talking to, they're not caring for the youth anymore. You don't have that anymore. That's gone.
Mhm.
You
I
know what I'm
agree.
saying? That's
I
gone.
totally
So now
agree.
we don't have that foundation anymore to teach us right from wrong. Because if I see Big Mama acting a damn fool, then hey, I'm gonna act a fool. That justified it.
Agreed. Now, let me just add something to
It's
that.
gone. I'm sorry. What
When,
did you say?
no, I said I was just going to add something to that. The reason why, and I totally agree with you, as far as the untreated mental illness, and then you have people that not only lack resources or options based off of their demographics and their income, but a lot of them look at seeking help externally as a weakness or as taboo. But I want to add something to that because even though there has been mental illness generationally, there has to be a different dynamic of what's going on. I know that the weapons of what we're going through are spiritual, right? More than anything. But back in the day, you were as sick as your secrets. But now, like you said, there's a lack of emotional intelligence or people that are ill equipped to know how to deal with emotions. And so they don't. And then you go out in public and anything goes. Anything is tolerated and accepted, but like you said, it goes untreated, and it now it's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle, but it just seems like it's more severe and more prominent now than it's ever been, and there's no shame attached to it, to acting like you have some sense in public forums.
Right.
Like I remember my mother used to say, you don't speak unless you're spoken to out in public, especially when you're in the midst of a bunch of adults.
Right.
Or you're in a house and then the adults say, go outside and play and get up out of grown folks' business or get
Right.
out of grown folks' mouths. Now you got children and grown folks in the same, occupying the same spaces, engaging in conversations that children should not be privy to. So now you got children thinking they're grown, can't be told anything. You got the adults that don't want to take accountability or hold themselves accountable for anything. And so, again, it's an example that is set for the children. So, I agree with you about it being generational. I'm just not sidestepping the possibility and the fact that the food has been tampered with, the water is being tampered with, the air is being tampered with. There are so many different, while we're being distracted with so many different things, whatever the flavor of the week is, they are playing mad scientists behind the scenes, seeing how they can do population control, in my opinion, and shorten life expectancy
Correct.
through the food, through all these different things, the medicines, the pharmaceutical medications. You got the Ritalin and all of the ADHD medications that they want to give our kids in school. It's just, I think it comes from all different sides and fronts, but it's a tough battle when you're trying to raise sane children to go out and navigate in this world full of crazy folk.
Right. Right. Exactly. And that's why we gotta keep our children. We gotta continue to talk to them. Regardless, talk to like everything. My son will come back and be like, "Mom,
You
what?"
coming in choppy, beautiful one.
I know. Hold on. Let me. You
You
know what?
sound like you in the Matrix.
Yours does too. It's like a. I can't really hear you that well. Hold on.
You can't hear me? I
I
can barely hear you.
barely hear you. Hold on. What is going on? I'm gonna leave and come back out.
Okay, let me drop the link. So we hanging out here, y'all. Yeah, it is definitely past my bedtime, but I'm enjoying this. It ain't very often I'm up late like this, but I think this is a great conversation. I thank you all for rocking out with your girls. We got a beautiful one in the building. Just we got Miss Your Thoughts that hit the panel. We got the beautiful chat, members in the chat, just keeping it rolling. I appreciate everybody. Here she go.
Hello.
Ooh, child.
How's that?
I don't know what happened.
Over here talking some truth.
We talking some good shit.
They said we gotta cut them helpers off.
Listen, we might have to do a part two to this one. Goodness gracious.
Yes. I mean, I can hear you, but it was just like only in the matrix.
Oh, you really sound like you. I can make out a few things you're saying, but you coming in kind of choppy. I
Hold on.
know that I messed her up.
That's okay.
Echo cancellation. I'm here.
Yeah, it's messed up. I think honestly we said a lot.
I know.
I
I'm.
didn't say too much. We said too much. And as soon as you were speaking, that's when it started doing it.
Ooh, child.
You
I,
just said when you started speaking about why, the reasons of why things are,
mhm.
it's like the food diets, the pharmaceuticals, all of this other stuff, that's when it started messing up.
Oh, beautiful one. I want to hear everything you're saying. Now I can, Lord have mercy.
Said too much.
Now you came in briefly clear, but I don't know what happened. Say something else. Mm, mm.
We're gonna continue this. We're gonna do it till we continue. Don't worry.
Okay, we'll do a part two. We'll do a part two. But I appreciate you so much for coming up and giving so much content and valuable information. Oh my goodness. You enlightened me when it comes to the industry. It just showed me how sheltered and naive I am, but
Help each other, Mr. King. You are so wise. Trust me. Like, we just feed off each other. And I'm like, I gotta say something because I'm like, I've been hearing this conversation all day. And I'm just like, you know what? Then I saw it. And I was like, oh, I finally got her. I was sitting out eating. And I'm like, I finally got it. Because I was sucked up to you under beautiful two,
yes.
not beautiful one. So that's how I called you.
Amen. Amen. I heard most of you. Most of what you said. But I'm
Yeah.
glad you did come up. And definitely, we definitely feed off of one another and educate one another on just
Yeah.
everything that we discuss. Because it's, I think we have a lot of the same, um, foundational principles that we go off of. Thinking, we value family and our children, and at the end of the day, that's what it leads to, in my opinion. Always, always. But look, I don't want to mess up what we had going on, and you sounding like you struggling over there. So,
That's the Gabby. I mean, my phone just did something so weird.
oh, well, I
Not
dropped you.
so
You
weird.
dropped down, and then you came back up. So it's definitely. At first, I was thinking this is StreamYard, but I'm not having any issues. And then when you came back up, it was still the same.
And see,
So
you're sounding like that to me.
I sound staticky to you?
Sounded staticky ever since you started mentioning, you asked the question of, you was, well, basically, when you started saying,
Oh, so it may be, child. Don't nothing surprise me. Don't nothing surprise me anymore when it comes to anything that we got going on, especially when we start talking. Look, the screen that just blanked out on me.
doing that ever since, yeah, I'm going to drop down so I can at least hear you.
Okay, baby. All right, beautiful one. I appreciate you. Free, beautiful
So
one.
much. I really enjoyed myself with you tonight, sweetheart.
Me too, and thank you so much for coming up. Thank you for. I'm glad you caught me live. I am so excited. This conversation was lit.
I said I got it. But we do need to, please, I want you to please discuss this situation with how we are as Black women, as far as like our, even like with our hormones.
Yes, the
Not
hormone.
in the food that we eat. Like, we need to be cautious about what we're doing because that can contribute to our attitude.
Yep, and because it does affect male and female, it
Right,
affects it all.
right, exactly. So these are things that do need to be discussed. And yes, I have myself have been like, okay, I'm tired of Black women. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, when I it even got to the point to where, like, if I go somewhere and I'm like, because I'm automatically thinking, okay, it's gonna be attitude. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's wrong. I don't want to look at my sister and think that way.
Yep, I agree with that. Absolutely. I have to monitor it. I get it. I have to be mindful. And there are times, especially when I don't eat the right things or I don't get enough sleep, man, I'm a whole different beast out here. So I have to be very intentional about taking care of, like you said, keeping that hormonal balance. And everything affects the hormones. What we eat, what we drink, level of rest that we have, lack of exercise, or making sure we get adequate exercise, we stay active, our stress levels, that is huge in hormonal balance.
Right. Exactly. So
Yep,
those are things that I think that we definitely need to discuss more as women, sharing that knowledge with each other, as far as that is concerned, because that to me, the lack of sleep, anything, overwork, all of these things play contribute to your attitude, you know,
hmm,
regardless of how you're raised or whatever like that. I get that, but also what you put in your body, the sleep, you know, the energy, the people that you are around, you know. So
absolutely.
all of that plays an effect on your day and how you treat people.
Hmm. Okay, so the chat is saying that they can hear me, but not you. Come in. Free beautiful one.
I just don't think that
Free beautiful one.
I'm about to drop down. I can't hear you.
Okay, baby. All right. I don't know if she said she was coming. Okay. I don't know if she said she was coming, gonna try to come back. I think she just free beautiful one. That's all. I was trying to listen to what she had to say and I could make out some of it, but I don't want to. I want us to do another part to this and talk about that. So when everything is clear and we can be heard clearly and have the chat engaged, because I would love to get your. I know, beautiful one. They are definitely hating on us. You know how it is. Start talking about that real ish, and they 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 be messing with everything because we ain't do nothing different at all. But that's okay. That's okay because they let us get it in for over 3.5 hours. So so I think that might have been you. Y'all call too many names. It's your thoughts, so y'all call too many names. Listen, I'm gonna start giggling. I know it's my bedtime. As I start laughing and don't know how to stop, that's a tall tale sign. It's time to go. But listen, I just want to say, there was I got a notification that I received a cash app, and I just want to say thank you so much to Precious Blue. If I don't know if Precious Blue is still in the chat or who Precious Blue is, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And you are truly appreciated. Thank you, right? No- so beautiful one, and Miss Yo, I would love to do a topic on this, as far as like the hormones and people, just the rage in our community, the tendency for people to just react to everything from an emotional standpoint and not have emotional balance and not utilize the intelligence. It seems to be a serious issue, and it seems to be growing and developing, right, as time goes on, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And I am personally not so concerned about myself, but I got more life. Well, I would love to say I got more ahead of me than behind me, but statistics don't really show that. God got the last say. But our kids definitely are being affected and they're influenced when they're kids. So I definitely want to touch on that. And I would love to get to a consensus of how we can propose some plausible solutions on how to help our children, especially develop into young adults and into manhood and womanhood, and exercise emotional intelligence and balance. And I believe a lot of it is hormonal, and I stand on it when I say that also believe that a lot of it is in the food and in the things that we eat and drink and in our environment. Stress. I could tell you right off, at my age, as soon as I start stressing, my body be like, nope, nope, I don't like it. Do something about it. Go get you a pedicure. Go sit in a hot tub. Go for a walk. Go run on the trail. Go do something because this ain't working. My body will cut up, act up in a heartbeat if I start stressing. So I think it's been a good thing for me though, because I actually have been, it makes me intentional on not stressing or managing stress a lot better than I used to, and recognizing that it is stress because we can normalize anything. I choose not to normalize stress. Okay, they call it the silent iller for a reason. Okay, so with that being said, all right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Thanks to everybody that commented in the chat. Thank you to everybody that hit the panel. My conversation with Miss Yo Thoughts, aka Laverne, aka Miss Yo, and Miss Beautiful One. I appreciate all of the donations and the super chats and the messages. I just appreciate all of y'all. I really, really do. I have really enjoyed myself, and I hope that you have as well. And for those that might be catching the replay, if you are a new subscriber, welcome. I appreciate you. Appreciate your support. Tap that like button on the way out or on the way in, depending on where you're coming into the live stream. So I appreciate everybody. I hope everybody gets some rest, okay? Because I know I am. All right. And then we're gonna pick this up at another time, and hopefully it won't be too long from now because I definitely want to touch on that topic. So thank you everybody again once more, and Miss Akimi is out. I appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Peace.